And welcome to the pregame. I am your host, Sean Wiesemann. Thank you so much for being here. It is a beautiful day here in Oxford, Ohio, as the RedHawks of Miami take on the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Central Michigan is 3-4, 1-2 in the Mid-American, and Miami is 3-4 and 2-1 in the Mid-American, with the RedHawks being an 11.5-point favorite here, the over-under being 47.5, so a pretty low one here tonight, today rather. And we can go into the meeting history to start, and Central Michigan and Miami are going to meet for the 31st time in series history, with Miami leading with a 16-13-1 advantage in the series, which began in September 16, 1978, and the two schools last met on October 2nd, 2021, and Miami has won each of the last 4 meetings, and in their last meeting, A.J. Mayer was the starter after starter Brett Gabbert was knocked out in a 23-10 loss to Army in the previous week, and although Mayer ultimately ended up transferring to Arkansas State, and Gabbert, the 6-year veteran, still here and kicking it for the RedHawks. And in that game, Miami got out to a 14-0 lead after the first quarter, but Central Michigan got within 1 in the third before Miami scored 14 unanswered to close the deal, with leading passer, obviously, A.J. Mayer, 13 of 18, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Keon Mosey, familiar face for the RedHawks. Keon Mosey, 13 carries, 83 yards, the lead rusher. And Mac Hippenhammer, old friend of the program, 8 receptions, 170 yards. This is a little bit of a disappointment season for the RedHawks early on, just because of the really tough non-conference schedule, with last season being an 11-3 season, 8-1 in the conference with a MAC championship 23-14 win over Toledo, and hero loss in an absolute monsoon against Appalachian State with 13 combined fumbles. But this season, it's been after a very slow start for the RedHawks, starting just 1-4, they have won their last 2 now, with wins at 38-14 win against Eastern Michigan and a 30-20 victory over Ohio. In that game, Miami struck first early with a 28-yard field goal from Dom Jobin after a strong opening drive. The RedHawks extended their lead in the second quarter on a 14-yard touchdown from Brett Gabbert to Reggie Virgil, and added another score on the half on an 8-yard touchdown pass to Javon Tracy with a missed extra point, made it 16-0 at the half. OU got on the board in the third with a 15-play, 75-yard drive capped by Anthony Tice III's 1-yard touchdown, but after a failed 2-point conversion that made the score 16-6, and Miami responded quickly after that one with a 58-yard touchdown run from, guess who, Keon Mosey, to make it a 23-6 game, and after an interception, a 28-yard touchdown pass from Gabbert to K. McDonald made it 30-6, and while the Bobcats tried to mount a late comeback with a couple touchdown runs from Nolan McCormick and backup quarterback Nick Polis, time ultimately ran out, and the RedHawks were able to score a 30-20 victory, with Brett Gabbert leading the way, passing 14-21 with 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. Keon Mosey, once again, 16 carries, 111 yards, and a touchdown. K. McDonald, 5 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. And Bryan had a sack and a half and 5 tackles. He is going to be a big factor, which I will get into later today. Central Michigan, on the other hand, getting over into the overview of them. Last season, they were 5-7. They lost their last 3 games to make them not bowl eligible in back-to-back years for the first time since 2010 and 2011, with Jim McElwain, the head coach, entering his 6th season as Central Michigan head coach. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because it's a very familiar face to national college football fans. He won 2 national championships as offensive coordinator at Alabama under Nick Saban in 2009 and 2011. Was a former head coach at both Florida and Colorado State, where he had success turning both programs around before ultimately being fired midway through his 3rd season at Florida after a 3-4 start. His record at Central Michigan is an even 32-32, and overall he has a record of 76-60 as head coach. When he took over at Central Michigan, he started a remarkable turnaround in his first season, taking what was a 1-11 team to an 8-6 record with a Mid-American West division title and a bowl appearance, and as a result won MAC Coach of the Year. He's also won Coach of the Year in 2 other leagues, as he was SEC Coach of the Year in his first season at Florida and his last season at Colorado State in 2015 and 2014, respectively. In addition, McElwain led the Central Michigan Chippewas to a 9-4 season recap of the last game for Central Michigan. 38-34 loss for them, with Eastern Michigan starting really strong, scoring a first on a 15-yard touchdown pass from Cole Snyder to Marcus Allen, and then added a field goal to get to a 10-0 lead. But after Central Michigan cut it to 10-7, Eastern Michigan extended their lead to 13-7 on another Jesus Gomez field goal. However, a wild sequence before halftime saw Central Michigan get a 67-yard fumble return for a touchdown from Jason Williams to take their first lead of the game, but then Eastern Michigan once again responded with another Jesus Gomez field goal from 48 yards to lead 16-14 at the half. Central Michigan then built a really strong third quarter, scoring on a 2-yard Bert Emanuel Jr. touchdown run and 2 Tristan Matson field goals to build a 27-16 lead. And the teams traded touchdowns early in the fourth to make it 34-16, but Eastern Michigan mounted a furious comeback late with 3 late touchdowns, a 49-yard touchdown pass to Lockett, a 2-point. Like I mentioned, we have a really exciting game, and this is going to be one that the RedHawks looking to get back even to 4-4 in, and we'll get into some storylines of the game. As Miami, to start, you've seen them improve, getting better and better. As, last week's game versus Ohio was certainly their best win. I would argue, some might argue the Eastern Michigan win was good, but Ohio is the best team they've beaten this season by far. And that's good news for the RedHawks, as they played arguably their most polished game of the season, and with no division starting this season in the Mid-American, head-to-head victories over the other MAC contenders are huge. And so the win over Ohio, who was undefeated in conference play going into the game, is a massive victory for them. Another thing you want to take a look out for is Greg Gabbert has really turned it on after really struggling his first few games against power conference opponents. He has really started to air it out, as the Red Hawk offense has not been afraid to take deep shots, and as that's been the case all season, but they were not really all that successful with it up until about 2 weeks ago versus Eastern Michigan, and they really continued it versus Ohio. If Miami's able to connect on some of those deep shots, and that would stretch the Chippewas defense out vertically and create some opportunities for the rest of the offense, and that would really give the guys like Javon Tracy, Cade McDonald, and Reggie Virgil, all guys who are top 15 in the Mid-American and receiving, a chance to really make some plays and to get out on the board early. For Central Michigan, a couple things to keep an eye out for is they're trying to end the bowl drought that they've had for the last couple of seasons, and so 3 more losses for the Chippewas would now mean 3 straight years without bowl eligibility, and boy, do they have a tough 5-game stretch, playing arguably 4 of the top 5 best teams, arguably maybe even the 5 best teams in the Mid-American, with games against obviously Miami versus Bowling Green, at Toledo versus Western Michigan, and at Northern Illinois. Another thing to keep an eye out for is the fact that they are out on their starting quarterback, Joe Labas, the Iowa transfer, who went down for the season, and so now we're taking a look at the 2 quarterbacks who they have been rotating in, Bert Emanuel Jr. and Tyler Jefferson, who have alternated series for the Chippewas. This is an offense that is the leader in yards per game, although the stat is skewed by a 66-10 win over Central Connecticut State, but they've relied very heavily on their run game. In the loss against Eastern Michigan, they rushed for a season-high 285 yards on 6.3 yards per carry, with Marion Lukes, the running back, the star, registering his second straight 100-yard rushing game as he finished with a game-high 118 yards on 13 carries. And quarterback Bert Emanuel Jr. coming off the bench to amass 155 total yards, with 63 rushing yards and a touchdown and 92 yards passing, and starting quarterback Tyler Jefferson rushing for another 79 yards on 13 carries. And this is a very dynamic rushing attack for Central Michigan that has really come alive the last couple games, and this is a team now with 6 different players with 100 or more rushing yards, and so it's really hard to just shut down one guy, because it sounds like another 2 more will come up and start getting things rolling in the run game, and that presents opportunity to shut down the pass game. And with Rayon Strader likely going to be shadowing whoever the best wide receiver is for Central Michigan, that means that a passing attack that was only 5 for 12 for 98 yards is certainly going to have their challenges. And, just to add on to that statement, in addition to that, no receiver on Central Michigan has more than 20 catches on the season. And just to put it into perspective, the leader in catches in the Mid-American is Harold Fannin Jr. with 60. He's also 3rd in the country. He has been dynamic for the Falcons, but the point being, there isn't a go-to receiver like the RedHawks have in Cade McDonald. We will take a quick break. We'll get into some scores around the country in the Mid-American and the top 25, and then we will come back with some players to watch and keys to the game. Thank you so much for listening. scores from around the country, first starting with top 25 with Ohio State getting a real test from a Nebraska team who was won 56-0 last week, and the score being 14-6 in favor of Ohio State. Will Howard, 9 of 9, 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. And boy, Notre Dame is showing no mercy to the 24th ranked Navy midshipmen as 12th ranked Fighting Irish up 31-7 at the half with Riley Leonard, 12 of 19, 141 yards and a touchdown. Indiana having no problem without starting quarterback Curtis Rourke as they are up 17-7, just the third quarter just underway. The 13th ranked Hoosiers are at Washington for a really exciting matchup there. And Oklahoma, real surprising result here, up on 18th ranked Ole Miss, 14-10 at the half with Jackson Dart, 8 of 13, 19 yards for the Rebels. Yet to come at the 3:30 window is 20th ranked Illinois travels to Eugene and Autzen Stadium to take on the #1 team in the country, Oregon. Oregon coming off of a victory over Purdue, and Illinois coming off of a program-defining win over Michigan, 21-7 victory for them. Additionally, we have BYU, the 11th ranked Cougars, going to Orlando, Florida at FBC Mortgage Stadium in the Bounce House to take on 3 and 4 Central Florida. And Missouri, 21th ranked Tigers, going to Alabama to take on the 15th ranked Crimson Tide. Florida State, one of the disappointments of the season, only 1-6, being traveling to 6th ranked Miami. Miami 7-0 with Cam Ward, the starting quarterback for Miami, one of the best in the country, throwing for 24 touchdowns, 5 picks, and 25 yards. Penn State in a potential trap game with their game against Ohio State coming up next week. They will be playing in the 7:30 window against Wisconsin as the 3rd ranked Nittany Lions travel to Camp Randall Stadium in Madison for the game. Additionally, in the 7:30 window, we have 8th ranked LSU going to Kyle Field to take on the 14th ranked A&M Aggies. And 8 p.m. window, it'll be Farmagedon with Kansas and Kansas State playing with the 16th ranked Wildcats playing against Kansas. And then finally for the 8 p.m. window, you have SMU taking on a surprisingly stout 6-1 Duke Blue Devils. And some scores last night, if you were up late enough to catch the Boise State UNLV game, you got to watch a good one as Ashton Ginty able to rush for 128 yards, and Heisman hopeful, Heisman favorite right now, able to lead Boise State to victory 29-24 over a very good UNLV team. And Thursday, 19th ranked Pittsburgh was able to do whatever they wanted to Syracuse with Kyle McCord, Syracuse's starting quarterback, former Ohio State quarterback, winning. They're throwing 3 pick-sixes in the first half with the Pittsburgh Panthers now 7-0, one of the surprises of the season. Now for MAC scores, we have only one game that's been played so far. It's Ohio versus Buffalo, but Ohio, after a sluggish first quarter with only 3 combined points, 31 combined points in the second as OU takes a 24-10 lead over Buffalo as the third quarter is just starting. At the 3:30 window, we have Eastern Michigan going to Akron. Northern Illinois is traveling to Ball State. Bowling Green traveling to Toledo, and Kent State traveling to Western Michigan, all of those in the 3:30 window. Now for some players to watch today, as we are about 10 minutes to kickoff. I mentioned earlier, Burt Emanuel Jr. and Tyler Jefferson, the 2 quarterbacks. You're going to need to keep a very close eye out on who gets the start and who ultimately ends up leading the offense, as both were really rotating in that 38-34 loss against Eastern Michigan. And you know, you're gonna, if you're a Chippewas fan, you're going to really ask for one of the 2 to step up. And it's going to be interesting to see who ultimately does. explosive their rushing attack is, but to keep Miami's offense off of the field, which has been suddenly very explosive the last couple of weeks, there will definitely need to be an emphasis on running the ball. And with 2 rushing quarterbacks, that's going to need to be a very big part of their offense in order for them to be successful. Additionally, getting Luke's involved is going to be your very, very big key as well. We know Marion Luke's is their best skill position. He's been a catalyst. We'd like to continue to see him get a lot of carries, and also on the defensive side of the ball for the Chippewas, you'd love to see if the defensive back combo of Dante Kent and Deron McKinley can keep the explosive Miami passing attack at bay, and those are probably the 2 best players for Central Michigan, and that'll be a really good matchup to see if the depth at wide receiver that Miami has can match up against the 2 all-Mid-American corners that Central Michigan has. On the other side of things, Miami. We know we want to ask the question about, can Central Michigan run the ball? Well, can Miami stop the run? As we know, Central Michigan is heavily reliant on their run game, and with 2 quarterbacks who threw for fewer than 100 yards last game, it'll be very interesting to see how much of an emphasis they place on how many guys they keep in the box. Will it be their traditional 5-6 guys in the box, or will they maybe put a 7th guy in there? That remains to be seen, and we'll certainly keep an eye out for that as the game continues. Additionally, how will the passing game hold up against the 2 great defensive backs that I mentioned previously? It'll be really interesting for Brett Gabbert. A really good challenge, I would say. This is probably the best defensive back field that he has seen since the Notre Dame game, and he obviously struggled a little bit against Notre Dame and future first-round pick Benjamin Morrison in that game. And so it remains to be seen, can Gabbert step up and elevate his team against a very stout passing defense for the Chippewas. And finally, discussing the special teams is a massive key to victory today for Miami. Central Michigan has a punt return and a kick return for a touchdown, and with the loss of their special teams coach to Pitt this year, it's going to be interesting to see, as you know, we've seen some special teams miscues for the RedHawks, is if they can, really step up and keep a very potent special teams for Central Michigan at bay. And additionally, senior place kicker Tristan Madsen for Central Michigan, he's also somebody
And with that, we welcome you to Yager Stadium in Oxford, Ohio for some more MAC football here tonight, or this afternoon, I should say, as the Miami RedHawks look to make it 3 wins in a row. The RedHawks have moved over 500 in MAC play with the win last week. Miami looking to get to 500 overall against the Chippewas of Central Michigan. Alongside Bryan Miller, I'm Luke West Poley. Thanks so much for being with us this afternoon on a beautiful fall afternoon here from Yager Stadium in Oxford. Bryan, this Miami team has looked better and better with each passing week in MAC play. It feels like they've exercised their demons really in all phases that they dealt with early on in the season, and it's a team that's playing their best football of the year right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Luke. They've been getting high at the right time as conference play is beginning after a tough loss to Toledo. The passing attack has really picked up for Miami. They have 3 receivers on the year averaging over 44 yards a game. We've really seen that passing attack led by Brett Gabbert doing very well for the RedHawks so far.
All set to go here from Yager Stadium. Miami is in the red uniforms, red tops and bottoms with the white helmets. Script Miami on one side in red, and on the other side with the annual Cancer Awareness Day, it is the ribbons. Each player getting the chance to select a cancer type of their choice to spread awareness, and all different types of cancer are represented on the sides of the helmets with different colored cancer ribbons by the Miami RedHawks here this afternoon. For Central Michigan on the road, they've got the white tops and bottoms with the maroon helmets and the yellow C on the side. Central Michigan won the toss. The Chippewas deferred their option to the second half. The ball is on the tee, and Tristan Matson all set to kick it away. The redshirt senior for the Chippewas steps back to his own 25-yard line. This afternoon in Oxford, it's a 61-degree day. The leaves are orange and yellow over Top Bottom Road, and into a driving backwind. An end-over-end kick falls at the 4-yard line, where it is taken out for Miami by Kevin Davis. Across the 20-yard line, he has stood up, and now Davis working to the far side. Gets a push with help from his teammates, but down at the 22-yard line. And that is where the RedHawk offense will start. 1st and 10, a return of 18 yards for Kevin Davis, and Miami will get the ball first. Brett Gabbert out with the rest of the RedHawks. Davey O'Brien watch list, and great aid a couple of weeks ago for his performance against Ohio. Last week, 14 for 21 for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's got 2 receivers on either side to begin the game. Gabbert out of the gun on 1st down, ball the right hash of the Miami 22-yard line. He takes the snap. Chippewas rush 5 on the play fake. Throw to the far side is complete. Javon Tracy shuffling his feet right on the 0 and 30. He is put on the ground after a pickup of 8 yards on the throw and catch. Tracy had 24 yards and a touchdown last week. He's the dink and dunk guy of this Miami receiving corps, and he picks up 8 on 1st down.
Yeah, we saw the short and intermediate passing game for Miami last week really excel in that win against Ohio, going back 2 on the first play there.
Empty set now for Miami. 3 receivers wide to the left and 2 to the right. Long side of the field is left with the ball on the right hash. 2nd and 2, 45 seconds into this one. 4 down linemen for Central Michigan. A 5th showing pressure as Gabbert claps and gets the snap at his chest. Looking far side, throwing far side. Pass is complete. Reggie Virgil falling across midfield onto his back. He points 1st down to the Central Michigan 48-yard line. It is a gain of 22 yards for Reggie Virgil, and cross the 1-minute mark. Miami already into plus territory. 1st and 10 RedHawks.
Another really good passing pattern there for the RedHawks. Looks like Javon Tracy able to find the soft spot in the zone defense there, and Miami another 1st down.
2 receivers either side for Gabbert. He's got Keon Mosey with him in the backfield. Miami's rushing attack has continued to improve, and Gabbert will go to it here on 1st down. Down the left side, Mosey gets a second push with his lineman behind him. Goes for about a yard. Mosey, one of a number of seniors being honored here today at Elite Summit, Missouri. Transferred in from Kansas State a couple of years ago. Spent the last 2 seasons now in his 3rd with the RedHawks. 112 yards and a touchdown last week. It came on a 58-yard run. This time he goes for a yard. 2nd and 9 coming up from the Chippewa 47. Ball down the middle of the hashes with 12:55 and rolling to go opening quarter. Gabbert's got Kevin Davis to his left in the shotgun. 2 receivers either side tight to the formation. Central Michigan has got 7 guys in the box and 8th showing pressure off the edge as a flag comes in, though, from the umpire, and we'll hear from our referee, William Williams, for the first time. It's a false start on Miami, and Colby borders the right guard. 5-yard penalty will make it 2nd down and 14 for the RedHawks and push them back to their own side of the field to the Miami 49.
Yeah, it seems like the one thing that stopped Miami on this drive, Luke, has been penalties, so we'll see if Miami's able to recover from that false start.
RedHawks will stick with the same formation, receivers tight to the line of scrimmage. Davis motions from Gabbert's left to right. Gabbert gets the snap, looking right now down the middle of the field. He'll chip it off for Javon Tracy, shuffling his feet, splitting defenders. Tracy escapes down the far sideline. Javon Tracy with blockers, and he's dragged down at the 10-yard line of Central Michigan. A little check down for Brett Gabbert, and somehow Javon Tracy breaks through 2 Chippewa defenders that had him down after a pickup of about 2. Instead, it is a gain of 42 for Javon Tracy, and Miami's got it 1st and goal from the CMU 10.
That looked like a 4 or 5 yard gain at most for Tracy, but an unbelievable cutback, gets a lot of yards after the catch, and now Miami at the 10-yard line looking to score on the opening possession.
Already 2 receptions for Javon Tracy, the redshirt sophomore from Indianapolis. 2 receivers wide left, 1 to the right, ball on the right hash. And the back is Dylan Downing for Miami. Brett Gabbert stepping up and barking orders at the O-line, taking the snap and handing off. Downing down the right side of the line, trying to split the guard and tackle. Not a lot of room there. He's swallowed up for no gain right at the line of scrimmage. Charge was led by Cade Costas, the defensive end, who mostly was a special teams guy last season, has stepped in to the DN starting role in a Central Michigan team that has been ravaged by injuries this year. It goes for no gain. 2nd down and goal coming up from the Chippewa 10. 1 receiver right, 2 to the left for Gabbert. Downing still in the game as the back. He had 7 attempts for 28 yards last week. He's bounced in and out of the lineup with some injuries of his own. Gabbert takes the snap, looking to throw, fires left, catch made. Cade McDonald diving for the pylon, and he is in for a Miami touchdown. There is a flag around where that ball was caught, and the RedHawks might get dinged for a pick play here, as looked like Javon Tracy provided a little bit of blocking for Cade McDonald, and maybe it came early. Tracy's pleading his case. Officials are going to meet here. For the moment, it's a touchdown catch for Cade McDonald, but this does not appear like it will stand.
Yeah, this is usually a part of the field, Luke, where you get that pass interference on that pick play there. Also have to add, we saw a center, 77, Charlie limping off the field, currently down the sideline right now. Dealt with an injury in the Toledo game. Looks like he's down again.
It is indeed pass interference on Javon Tracy. And so that will back the RedHawks way up. A 15-yard penalty will get the RedHawks all the way back to their own, or rather Central Michigan's 25-yard line, and will wipe the touchdown off the board. 10:50 to go, opening quarter. Miami on the game's first drive, looking to punch it in the end zone. RedHawks have struggled mightily, though, in the red zone, 76.2% this year. That sits 9th in the MAC. They're facing a Central Michigan team that is one of the MAC's best in terms of red zone scoring, over 92% on the year on the other side. 2nd and goal coming up from the 25-yard line following the pass interference penalty on Javon Tracy. Gabbert out of the shotgun. The back is Kevin Davis to his right. RedHawks have a tight end offset on the right side of the line. 2 receivers left and 1 right. Gabbert gets the snap, throwing over the middle, and it's incomplete. Oh, he had Reggie Virgil wide open there on that post route, splitting the 2 safeties up the far hash, but Gabbert just misfired, and that fell about 3 or 4 yards short of Virgil, who was standing in the end zone awaiting that play, and it will be 3rd and goal for Miami from the 25-yard line.
Yeah, Virgil had a couple steps on the DB there from Central Michigan, but the pressure from Jason Williams and Jonah Pace able to rush the throw from Gabbert.
Miami will go empty here. 2 receivers right and 3 to the left. Gabbert takes the snap, looking right now, left throws, pass complete for Javon Tracy with some blockers. Tracy worming through the middle, gets inside the 15, but he is hauled down at around the 12-yard line. So a little conservative there for the Miami offense, maybe hoping for some similar magic as we saw Tracy break out on a similar type of play earlier for a 40-yard gain. That goes for 12, but with Miami all the way back at 3rd and goal on the 25-yard line, the RedHawks will be forced to settle for a field goal. Dom Jobin out to attempt a 31-yarder from the left hash. Wind in the face of the redshirt junior from Frankfort, Illinois. The hold by Alec Bevelheimer. Kick is up, and it splits the uprights. Good for Dom Jobin, and Miami is on the board first. With 10:02 to go in the first quarter, the RedHawks strike on the 31-yarder from Dom Jobin. It's Miami 3 and Central Michigan nothing. And this has been an issue a little bit this year, Bryan, more so in non-conference. Miami has gotten it cleaned up over the last couple weeks, but struggling once the RedHawks get to the red zone and deal with shorter fields. Sometimes it's been penalties, sometimes it's been taking sacks, but Miami's been forced to face some tough third and goal situations this year. They did that time all the way back at the 25-yard line, and ultimately the drive stalls for 3.
Yeah, you said best, Luke. Obviously, it's great to come away with points on the opening drive, but big opportunity there to put a 6 on the board. Instead, it's a 3. We've seen them struggle with that, especially in non-conference play, and the offensive pass interference really pushed them back. But it's good on them to get points on the board at least to start off the game.
Certainly so. Central Michigan's turn to get the ball when we come back with 10:02 to go. First quarter, it's Miami 3 and Chippewas nothing. You're listening to Miami football on Red Hawk Radio. We'll be back in a moment.
That's good.
Back here in Oxford with 10:02 to go. First quarter, it's Miami 3 and Central Michigan nothing with Bryan Miller alongside. I'm Luke West Poley. Thanks for joining us. RedHawks got the ball on their own 22-yard line, drove down as far as the Chippewa 10, and got into the end zone with a Cade McDonald touchdown catch. However, it was called back on a pick play with a pass interference penalty on Miami's Javon Tracy that backed the RedHawks up to the 25. Got a nice pickup on third down, but it wasn't enough, and ultimately settled for a 31-yard Dom Jobin field goal to open the scoring. So now it's the Chippewas' turn to get the ball, and it's on the tee right now for Kellen McLaughlin. Puts his right foot into it, and a low line drive kick flies from right to left. It lands at the 2-yard line and barely skips into the end zone. That almost got dangerous for Central Michigan for a moment, but it does find its way through for a touchback past the goal line. And now we'll see the CMU offense for the first time. Central Michigan has all kinds of preseason All-MAC guys throughout the different position groups on this offense. The main issue that has hindered the Chippewas this year has been injuries. They've dealt with all kinds of combinations at quarterback this year, and today, due to injury, it will be Tyler Jefferson, who was just 2 for 8 for 6 yards last week, and he was sacked 4 times. He is out on 1st and 10 for the Chips. 2 receivers on both sides. Get a motion man from left to right, the backup tight end in Harris, and a handoff up the middle on first down. Breaking through down the center, it's Marion Lukes down the left side and up to the 40-yard line. A pickup of 15 yards from Marion Lukes. He had 119 yards last week, averaging 9.1 per carry, and gets 15 on an explosive first down run.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Luke. He's going to have to do it all for the Central Michigan offense, especially with the injuries at quarterback. Luke's a couple weeks ago against Ohio, 20 carries, 110 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Two receivers left and one to the right. Tight end and Harris offset right of the line. Play fake on first down. Throw over the middle. It is caught right at midfield by Chris Parker. He fell down at the 49-yard line of the Chippewas as he caught that football thrown a little behind him, but the bullet pass connects for a 9-yard gain for Parker. Had just one catch last week for 7 yards. The preseason All-MAC selection by Phil Steele makes it 2nd and 1.
Yeah, you'd think in a situation like this, you would think Lukes would get the ball again, or he could take a shot in the 2nd and short.
They will hand it off to Lukes, trying to counter, and he gets driven back. Corey Suttle off the edge for Miami, stoned him, and Lukes maybe went backwards there. They'll mark it no gain, but Suttle right up the gut there to catch that counter play in its tracks, and it's 3rd down for the Chippewas.
An excellent play by Suttle there, just completely stonewalled Lukes at the line of scrimmage and forced the 3rd and short for the Chippewas.
3rd down and 1. Chippewas 9th in the MAC entering today. Check that, tied for 8th at 33.3% on 3rd down this year. 3rd and 1 from their own side of the field at the 49-yard line. Pistol formation, snap in handoff. Lukes, not a lot of room initially. 2nd effort, he got close. Did he get there? It is very, very close to the line to gain. And they'll say yes, the 2nd effort by Lukes, who met contact right at the line of scrimmage, was enough to pick up exactly 1 yard. That's what he needed for the 1st down. So the Chippewas will get a 1st and 10 with the ball right down between the hashes at the middle of the field, the 50-yard line. Now with one receiver split out either side, they've got 2 men offset on the right side of the line. And in the shotgun, Jefferson will motion a man out wide, take the snap, and fake the handoff. He keeps himself, and now gunning down the far side. He lowers the shoulder, and Jefferson into Miami territory with another 1st down as he is rolled down at the 33-yard line. A 17-yard pickup with the quarterback legs for Tyler Jefferson, the redshirt freshman. And Central Michigan's got it from the left hash, 1st and 10 for the Miami 33.
And Jefferson certainly provides another dynamic with his legs. 30 attempts coming into today's game with 131 yards. So certainly something to keep an eye on for the Red Hawk defense. Going to have a spy on him.
3 receivers split out right, 1 to the left, and on 1st down, Jefferson will hand it off right from the shotgun, and Miami meets it at the line of scrimmage. Harris will drive forward for a yard, and so that will set up rather a gain of 2, 2nd down and 8. B.J. Harris had 4 yards last week. He is the main backup at the moment, listed 3rd on the depth chart, but Miles Bailey, another preseason All-MAC guy, has had just 3 touches over the last 3 weeks. 2nd down and 8 coming up from the 31. Jefferson takes the shotgun snap, pitch to the near side. It is complete to Evan Boyd outside the numbers. He is cracked out of bounds by Matt Salopek, a yard shy of the sticks to the 24-yard line of Miami, and it's another Chippewa 3rd down. Under 6 minutes to play, opening quarter. Central Michigan trails it 3-0, but on their first drive of the game, looking to answer potentially with 3 or maybe 6. 3rd down and 1. Chippewas already 1 for 1 on this drive. Snap and a quarterback run down the right side of the line, diving forward. Jefferson did not get there. He goes for no gain. Silas Walters and Corbin Hondrew leading the charge for Miami to get to the quarterback on the keeper in the backfield. And Jefferson able to lean forward to get back to the line of scrimmage. But now it is 4th down. No gain officially, and interested to see. And Central Michigan will run out of the Wildcat. So 4th down and 1. Jefferson not on the field. Lukes in at quarterback. Motions a man from right to left. Faking the handoff down the middle of the field. Lukes has got enough for the 1st down to the 20-yard line.
And Chuck Martin upset on the sideline there. I think he was looking for a penalty on that play. I didn't see anything there, but Martin's certainly upset and disagrees on that.
Ty Wise made the stop, but plenty enough for a 1st down on the Wildcat carry from Marion Lukes. The senior from Charlestown, Indiana, moves the chains for the Chippewas. 4:37 to go, clock moving, 1st quarter. It's Miami 3 and Central Michigan nothing, but the Chippewas driving now into the red zone. Ball between the hashes on the Miami 20-yard line. Tyler Jefferson back into the game at quarterback. Two receivers wide left and one to the right, and another handoff up the middle, and nowhere for Harris to go. He gets walled off right at the line of scrimmage. So forward progress got him back to the line, it appears, or maybe for an extra yard. Spotting is a little bit confusing on the far side of the field. The stick has moved all over the place, but they'll call it 2nd down and 9 from the 19-yard line of Miami.
Yeah, it looked like the ball came loose there at the very end, but forward progress certainly in play there.
Tight end offset left of the line, two receivers left and one right. Jefferson out of the shotgun. Fakes the handoff, keeps himself, has a seam down the right side, galloping away from a tackle. He's tripped up, but stumbles forward for an extra gain of about 5 more yards to the Miami 9-yard line. Rayon Strader made the stop for the RedHawks, but Tyler Jefferson on the stumble gains 10 yards to make it 1st and goal for the Chippewas from the 9-yard line of Miami.
And Jefferson certainly using his legs on this drive. 3 attempts so far for 26 yards. Been the big difference so far for Central Michigan. I think Miami's done a good job stopping Luke's outside that first run, but Jefferson making a difference.
Empty set here for Jefferson, motion from left to right, and he'll take the snap and make his way right. 2 flags come in, fighting forward towards the goal line. That was rather Luke's on the Wildcat again. Again, there were 2 flags. It appears, though, that this will maybe be a face mask or horse collar type of penalty on the RedHawks. Run got all the way down to the 1-yard line there with the second effort from Marion Lukes, and another successful Wildcat carry for the running back. Now we'll get our call. So that's half the distance from the end of the run. And again, Central Michigan got it down to the 1-yard line. So now it'll be 1st and goal following the automatic first down from inside the 1 for the Chippewas. Clock halted, 2:56 remaining first quarter. Central Michigan trails at 3-0, but on their opening drive, they are threatening. Ready for play signal, clock moving once again. Chippewas will huddle fully and now break out and look to hurry up. Under center, Jefferson will hand it off right, and in the backfield, the RedHawks swarm. Central Michigan tried to get tricky there, breaking the huddle quickly to catch the RedHawks off guard, but Marion Lukes goes for about 1.5 yard loss back to the 2-yard line, and that's where 2nd and goal will come from for Central Michigan.
Yeah, RedHawks certainly weren't caught off guard there. This is a matchup of strength on strength. Miami second the MAC in rush defense. Obviously, you've seen how Central Michigan is able to run the ball.
Big boys up front for both squads. I formation for Central Michigan, and they'll fake the handoff, and now Jefferson looking to throw, stepping up in the pocket on the run. He airs it over everybody out the back of the end zone. Incomplete, and it's 3rd down.
Good play there from the Miami defense. Pressure able to get to Jefferson. Danced around a little bit. I thought he had an open lane to run for a potential touchdown, but decides to throw to the back of the end zone. Live to fight another day.
3rd down and goal. Ball on the right hash of the Miami 2-yard line for Central Michigan. 2:04 to go, opening quarter. And the Chippewas looking to get on the board, trailing 3-0. They'll go from the I formation again. It's Jefferson with Harris behind him and Lukes as the tailback. Man in motion from left to right. Handoff from Jefferson down the right side of the line to the pylon. And touchdown. It's Miles Bailey that gets the carry for Central Michigan. That is just his 3rd carry over the last couple of weeks. And he's in for 6 with 1:59 to go in the first quarter. Central Michigan has made it 6-3.
That was an excellent job by the Central Michigan offensive line on the right side. Brady Plowshaw and Braden Swartout did a great job setting the edge there and providing the Chippewas an opportunity to score that touchdown.
Tristan Matson on for the PAT. 19 for 20 this year. And he drills it. Matson's point after off the scoreboard, and with 1:59 to go, it reads Central Michigan 7 and Miami 3 following that very successful drive for the Chippewas. as they take it the distance, getting into the end zone on the 2-yard run from Miles Bailey. Again, Bailey just 1 reception and 1 rush over the last few weeks. Has not really been a part of this Central Michigan attack, despite it being very successful and despite he being one of the guys that was expected to take the bulk of the carries. That drive goes 15 plays for 75 yards over 8:03, and the Chippewas answer with 7 with 1:59 to go in the first. They lead it 7-3. We'll step aside here from Yager Stadium. You're listening to Miami football on Red Hawk Radio. We're back after this. With 1:59 to go, opening quarter from Yager Stadium, it is Central Michigan 7 and Miami 3. Both teams scoring on their opening drives, but that was a statement on the road by this Chippewa offense, answering the Miami field goal with a drive that lasted over 8 minutes, going 75 yards, capped off by the Miles Bailey 2-yard touchdown run, and the Chippewas have the lead here late in the first quarter. End-over-end boot is not returnable for Kevin Davis. Miami will leave it for a touchback and start from their own 25-yard line for drive number 2 of the game. Again, 1:59 to go here in this first quarter. And they'll take another timeout on the field. We'll stay here for now from Yager Stadium as the RedHawks trail it 7-3.
You know, Luke, it's really not often that you see 2 drives in the opening drives, and we don't have 2 minutes left into the first quarter. You just don't see it often. I think the biggest thing for this Miami drive right here, more than anything, is just to get a couple first downs at the very least. For the sake of your defense, I mean, they are definitely tired on the sidelines right now after that long drive from Central Michigan. So if you're able to run the ball here, if you're Miami, and at least get a couple first downs and drain the clock a little bit, give your defense time to rest, I think that would be the biggest thing that they could do.
Again, a long touchdown drive by Central Michigan saw the Miami defense out there for a while, and you would like to, like you said, at least get some time to keep your defense on the sideline. And for the RedHawks, despite what their defense looked like on that opening drive on the other side of the ball, you're probably feeling pretty good about where you're at based off what you saw in the opening minutes. Miami drive down really without a whole ton of issues until they got put behind the sticks with a 15-yard pass interference penalty, and really had that not happened, it looked like Miami was going to easily get into the end zone. And so if you can avoid the self-inflicted stuff here on drive number 2 and keep that rhythm going like you had on the first drive, should be able to put some more points on the board ideally.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, they've done a really good job in the short to middle passing game so far in that first drive. They've done a pretty good job with that. It's just when you get into inside the 10-yard line, that doesn't necessarily work as well. just because the defense is all compacted together. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to take away from that first drive. Just get rid of the penalties ideally. That offensive pass interference really killed the drive there.
Taking a look around the Mid-American Conference here today, there's one other game in action, and then everybody else in the MAC will get started in the 3:30 window. But kind of good news right now for Miami is that Ohio is putting the hammer down on Buffalo right now, 33-16, and the Bobcats are driving to potentially score again in that game. And again, really all you need at this point, despite the rough start, is to just win your own games. Miami controls their own destiny to get back to Detroit if they want to. They're a long way off from that with still 5 games left to play. However, despite the rough start to the year, opening 1-4, the RedHawks have helped themselves out the last couple of weeks, and the path to Detroit is still pretty clear from obstacles for Miami if they can take care of their own business. 1st and 10 for the RedHawk offense onto the field following the timeout. 1:59 to go. First quarter, Miami trails at 7-3. 2 receivers on both sides of Brett Gabbert in the shotgun formation. Toes on the right hash of his own 20-yard line. Play fake on first down. Gabbert looking for the home run hitter now, facing pressure, and he goes down. Gabbert had his eyes downfield, and the pass rush got to him as he made his way to the far side. Jaden Davis, the transfer from Wayne State, with his 2nd straight game with a sack. Miami did not give up a sack last week, and that'll go for a loss of 4, and Brett Gabbert is a little slow to get up. He is up to a knee for Miami, but Gabbert is getting tended to by the training staff.
Yeah, obviously that would be a pretty major loss for the RedHawks. I mean, I think we're well aware of his injury history. I mean, you just hate to see something like that happen to a quarterback that's just been through so much.
The backup quarterback is Henry Hessen for Miami, and man, this has got to have RedHawk fans feeling the here we go again. Brett Gabbert, who suffered season-ending injuries each of the last 2 years, is now down on the field on the far side. And again, he popped back up. He's up on one knee right now, as he was near the end of that play, but the training staff tending to him, and Gabbert looks like he's having a conversation with them as Henry Hessen warms up on the sideline for the RedHawks. Hessen is listed as the number 2 on the depth chart. However, the last time we did not see Gabbert start a game for Miami as he gets helped up to his feet. He's walking off under his own power, but looks like he's taking his helmet off, and now Miami will have to make a change at quarterback. The last time the RedHawks did not have Gabbert in a QB was the Cure Bowl last year, and that was when Henry Hessen split time with Maddox Kopp, who's the 3rd string. Both guys still here. For now, Henry Hessen will come in for Miami, and he will run the offense. It'll be 2nd and 14 as Brett Gabbert heads to the medical tent for Miami. Clock moving once again, and Hessen will work out of the shotgun. First appearance of the year for the redshirt sophomore from Plainfield, Indiana. Hessen takes the snap, handoff, up the middle, and room to run for Keon Mosey. Down the right side into the secondary. It's a foot race for Mosey down to the 20 and the 10. He is tripped up at the 8-yard line of Central Michigan.
And that's just the spark you need if you're Miami. I mean, the crowd's down, the sideline's down. First play, you pop a big run like that. We've seen Mosey do that the past few games, and he does it yet again. What a huge play for Miami.
First play with Brett Gabbert out, and Keon Mosey runs it for 71 yards down to the Central Michigan 7-yard line where they'll mark him, and it's 1st and goal Miami from there with under a minute to play in the first.
I mean, just what an opportunity for Miami to completely flip the momentum of this game.
So out of the pistol formation, Dylan Downing now the back, and Hessen will hand it off to him. Downing gets stacked up down the left side of the line. See where they'll mark him. Looks like he goes for a loss there of 2 yards. So Downing will go backwards, and Miami does not have to run another play in this first quarter, but there's a Chippewa that was initially slow to get up. It was Jason Williams, the defensive tackle. He got help to his feet, pretty quickly, but the officials had already called the injury timeout, so he'll take his time to get some medical attention, and that will bring a stoppage as well. The clock halts with 25 seconds left to play, so Miami will not have to run another play in this quarter, but they may do so if they choose, as Williams gets off the field pretty quickly under his own power. And the RedHawks will face a 2nd and goal from the 9-yard line with, again, Henry Hessen in at quarterback for Miami. Following the injury to Brett Gabbert, it was difficult to see what happened on the far side. Gabbert got sacked, and again, he was not down on the field. He helped himself up to a knee and just kind of sat there and looked like he was pretty calm and conversing with the trainers, walked off under his own power, and it was tough to see what he was favoring. And just now, Gabbert has come out of the medical tent, but at least for the moment, it looks like Hessen will have to stay in the game, probably for the duration of this drive at the very least, and we'll keep an eye on Gabbert, who's getting walked down the near sideline. We'll see if he stops at the bench or the locker room. Miami elects not to snap the football, meanwhile, and they're actually not even going to run the clock. They're just going to skip it to 0, it appears. And that will be the end of the first quarter. 2nd and goal coming up for the RedHawks following the 71-yard run by Keon Mosey. But a lot of eyes right now on Brett Gabbert, Miami's 6th-year quarterback, who is out of the medical tent, and it looks like right now he is being walked by the training staff to the locker room. So we will continue to monitor that as the situation progresses. But for now, after 1 quarter here from Yager Stadium, Miami trails Central Michigan 7-3. 2nd and goal for the RedHawks. When we come back, you're listening to Miami football on Red Hawk Radio. Second quarter on the way here from Yager Stadium. After 1, it's Central Michigan 7 and Miami 3. RedHawks driving, though, thanks to the 71-yard run from Keon Mosey that set the RedHawks up. They're now 2nd and goal from the Chippewa 9-yard line. But an important note, Brett Gabbert, who has dealt with season-ending injury issues each of the last couple of seasons, was injured just prior, the play before, to that 71-yard run by Mosey. The RedHawks, for the last couple of plays now, have operated with backup Henry Hessen in, and Brett Gabbert is currently in the locker room. So right now it's Hessen in at quarterback from the shotgun. 2nd and goal for the 9, and Hessen will look to throw for the first time. Hessen guns it near side. It's low, and it's nearly intercepted. He was looking for Tracy, and Chuck Martin is screaming at his backup quarterback right now as that nearly got jumped for a pick. Deron McKinney was in coverage for Central Michigan and almost jumped that little screen pass to Tracy. Instead, it falls incomplete, and it's 3rd down and goal from the 9-yard line.
Yeah, I think the timing was off a little bit there between Hessen and Tracy. Threw that ball a little bit late, and Central Michigan very nearly jumped that. I wonder if they're going to trust Hessen again on this 3rd and 9.
2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, with Miami down 7-3. 5 seconds into quarter number 2. Hessen Clapson takes the snap. Again, he's looking to throw to the far side of the field. Tight window throw. It is caught for a touchdown. Reggie Virgil, 9-yard catch. And what a throw from Henry Hessen. He was double covered, and he put it right between the 2 Chippewa DBs. Miami's in for the touchdown to retake the lead. With 11 seconds gone by in this 2nd quarter, it's 9-7.
Yeah, I mean, we just said that the timing was a little bit off from Hessen and the RedHawk receivers, but it was perfect there. An unbelievable throw from Hessen splits the 2 Chippewa receivers and gives the RedHawks their first touchdown of the day.
Dom Jobin's PAT is put through, and Miami leads by a field goal. 14:49 to go. Disaster struck for the RedHawks on that drive. They've lost Brett Gabbert for the moment, but Keon Mosey's 71-yard run, and then after a little bit of a shaky start for Henry Hessen, his first pass falls incomplete on 2nd and goal. On 3rd down, he zips a laser into Reggie Virgil, who made a leaping catch on the M in Miami in the end zone, and the RedHawks have retaken the lead. It is 10-7 Miami with 14:49 to go in the 2nd quarter. We'll take a break from Yager Stadium and be back. You're listening to Miami football on RedHawk Radio. Miami catches lightning in a bottle twice on that drive. 10-7 RedHawks now the score with 14:49 to go in the 2nd quarter. Miami was in a bit of a panic as silence had fallen over Yager Stadium. Brett Gabbert went down with an injury following a sack early on in that last drive for Miami, trailing 7-3. Henry Hessen entered, and the first play was a handoff to Keon Mosey for 71 yards. It's an end-over-end kick from Kellen McLaughlin is received in the end zone and will be returnable for the Chippewas out beyond the 10-yard line. Miami covers it down to the 13. for the return man and Marion Lukes for Central Michigan. But good coverage by this Miami ST unit that has gotten better and better with each passing week. And Central Michigan will have to go 87 yards. But yeah, following that injury to Gabbard, Miami looked a little bit stunned, but Keon Mosey can't be overstated how big that run was to re-energize this building. And then Henry Hessen called the throw for the first time, almost threw an interception on a screen pass. The very next play threw a bullet to Reggie Virgil that got caught for a 9-yard touchdown in a tight window. Chippewa offense now back out and a play fake on first down. It's zipped to the far side and a catch made by Evan Boyd right at the sticks. And yards after catch get him to the 27. He's dragged down by Rayon Strader after a gain of 14 yards out to the 27-yard line. First down, Central Michigan.
Yeah, not a ton of passes from Jefferson so far. It seems like those RPO option plays just fire it over the middle.
Now 3 for 4 for 30 yards, and out of the gun takes the snap and will toss it backwards to the right, shuffling his feet, running across the field. Lukes gets tripped up in the backfield. He goes down back at the 22-yard line.
Very good play from the Miami defense there. Looked like it was Oscar McWood who got Lukes there. Just a great play. He was starting to cut across the field, and I think he was going to be able to do it. Actually, it was Silas Walters on the tackle there. Great play for the RedHawks defense.
Loss of 5. It's 2nd and 15. Ball in the middle of the field for the Chippewa 22. Out of the shotgun, 2 receivers right and 1 left for Tyler Jefferson. Dries off his hands and now claps them. It's a handoff to the right, and Miles Bailey moving forward. He is cracked back at the 24-yard line after a short pickup of 2 yards. And Central Michigan will be behind the sticks for their 4th third down of the game. They're 2 for 3 so far, but this time it'll be their toughest one yet. 3rd and 13 from their own 24-yard line. Ball moves to the right hash.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, Luke. This is the first time all day Miami has been able to put the Chippewas in this 3rd and long situation. This is exactly the position that the RedHawks want to be in.
Twins stack to the right, 2 receivers spread to the left. Miles Bailey, the running back, with now a motion man from right to left. That's Jesse Pruitt for the Chippewas. Taking the snap on 3rd down. Play fake, pressure up the middle, and down goes Jefferson. Adam Trick didn't have a tackle last week. He came flying through untouched for the sack. The loss brings Central Michigan back to their own 15-yard line. Drop them back 9 yards, and it's 4th down.
Like I said, exactly a position you want to be in because the people on the line, the linebackers, could just tee off and pass rush in an obvious passing situation. The line forgets about Adam Trick, and he gets the first sack on the day for Miami.
Miami brings the house, and Chapeau gets the punt away. An end-over-end spiraling kick lands at the 45-yard line of Central Michigan, takes a Chippewa bounce and starts rolling sideways at the Miami 49. And it's touched up. That was an active play there on special teams. Kick nearly got blocked. Then it almost hit, looked like Miami's Rayon Strader on the back, who is trying to block for his return man, and Caden McDonald. Somehow everybody avoided that. No chaos happened on that play. It's touched up. They'll mark it right at midfield as that ball took a final ricochet to benefit Miami by a yard. The RedHawks will take it 1st and 10 from midfield with 12:02 to go in the 2nd quarter. Coming up, leading 10-7. First full drive, we'll see Henry Hessen, who's warming up the arm on the far side, did well to complete Miami's last offensive drive with a touchdown. He'll work with a short field when we come back. You're listening to Miami Football on Red Hawk Radio. Stay with us.
We used to say we won't get older. It'll be alright. We wait to change and then it's over. But it'll be alright. All those years we used to
12:02 to go, second quarter. Miami's defense gets the stop, and the RedHawks now back on offense, 1st and 10 from midfield, leading it 10-7. 9-yard touchdown pass to complete that last drive from the RedHawks' Henry Hessen, and he's back out now for his first full drive after taking over partway through last time out for the injured Brett Gabbard. Miami students Kathan Babu, I should say, reporting it's a left shoulder injury for Gabbard, who's currently getting checked out right now. No word yet on the severity, but we have not seen Gabbard come back out since he left the sideline at the end of the first quarter. Hessen 1 for 2. He almost threw an interception on his first pass on a screen play to Tracy. Second one was the touchdown catch. He'll hand this one off left to Keon Mosey, bouncing off the left side. He gets blasted as 2 late flags come in after a pickup of 3 yards for Keon Mosey. Mosey electrified that drive following the Gabbard injury. Gabbard took a sack on first down the very next play with Miami backed up inside their own 20. A 71-yard run by Keon Mosey got the RedHawks to the Central Michigan side of the field. Penalty is a face mask on Central Michigan, and that's a 15-yard penalty that will be attached to the end of that Keon Mosey 3-yard run to get the RedHawks well into Chippewa territory. Ball will be spotted at the 32-yard line of Central Michigan on the left hash, and it's an automatic first down for the Miami offense.
First penalty on the day for Central Michigan. It's a big one. I mean, Miami is already in pretty good field position at midfield. Now they're at the 32. Sets up really well, especially for a backup quarterback.
Central Michigan, the second most penalized team in the MAC. 2 receivers to the left, nobody out right. Preston Daniel stacked to the line in the pistol formation. Hessen looking to throw with time, fires far side, incomplete. He was looking to check it down for Keon Mosey and just threw it a little high of his smaller target, and Mosey standing at 5'7". Got the fingertips on it, but could not pull it in on the far sideline. It's incomplete.
And it looked like Miami was trying to do a shot downfield. I'm a little surprised, Luke. Usually in a situation where backup quarterback's in, you would see the offense play more conservatively, lean on the run game, but Chuck Martin company not afraid to throw the ball downfield with Hessen.
So second down and 10 with 11:35 to go. Second quarter, Miami leads at 10-7. Chippewas rush 5. It's a reverse to Cade McDonald down the left side of the field with blockers. McDonald outside the numbers. He is run out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Pickup of 7 yards for Cade McDonald. RedHawks handed it to Mosey, who then flipped to Cade McDonald, running it down the far side of the field. Some trickery from Chuck Martin, and it's 3rd and 3 now for Miami from the Chippewa 25.
Yeah, good play design there from Pat Welsh. I mean, he's good play there. Get the ball to McDonald. Very good in space. Able to almost get a first down for the RedHawks.
Welsh in his second season as Miami's offensive play caller. Don't normally see a ton of trick plays from this RedHawk offense, but see one there to set up a 3rd and short. Miami on the game, 1 for 2 on 3rd down. Single back formation to Hessen. Runs it to Mosey. Up ahead, Mosey gets close, but he'll be a yard shy as the RedHawks loaded up on the line of scrimmage, as did Central Michigan. Mosey gets 2 on 3rd down and 3, and now it's decision time for Miami. This would be about a 41-yard field goal for the RedHawks, and Dom Jobin with backwind. It's well within his range. However, Miami's going to go.
I think that 3rd down call tells you what they plan to do on 4th down. Or run up the middle there tells you they probably want to go for it on 4th down.
Exact same formation by Miami. Mosey is the back. 1 receiver either side, tight to the formation, and now Chuck Martin calls timeout from the Miami sideline. Central Michigan was loading up just 1 player that wasn't lined up on the line of scrimmage. A single high safety, Elijah Ricard, was backed up for Central Michigan, but 10 guys on the line for CMU. Chuck Martin was maybe hoping Central Michigan would show their hand defensively, and now wants to chat over this 4th down, and we are seeing the special teams unit warming up, so the RedHawks might reconsider here. 10:19 to go in this second quarter, and Miami leads at 10-7 over Central Michigan. RedHawks have it 4th and 1 from the Chippewa 23-yard line. As this drive has gone 27 yards, aided by a face mask penalty that gave Miami 15 of them. Again, they're well within field goal range of Dom Jobin.
There was a similar situation to this. I believe it was inside the 10 towards the end of the Northwestern game. I think Miami was down 10. They went out to go for it. Northwestern called a timeout, and then they sent out the field goal unit. So it could be Chuck Martin just getting Central Michigan to use a timeout so they wouldn't use it in like a 2-minute situation towards the end of the half.
Haven't seen Jobin's range extended a ton. His only misses have come from 40 plus. They were coincidentally both in the opening games of the year. He tried from 50 in that Northwestern game as the first attempt of the year as Miami's kicker after transitioning from the punting role 2 years ago and missed from 50 yards away. Jobin has not missed a kick yet in MAC play, but his long on the year 47. This would again be around 41. This is in the range though where he's missed both of his kicks this year. And so we will see if Miami tries it. There is also pretty heavy backwind for Jobin to work with. So again, the range here is probably not an issue for Jobin, just whether or not he can split the uprights. This is well within his bearings. And for Miami, they're going to keep the offense on the field. Breaking out of the huddle, the RedHawks will elect to still go for it as Chuck Martin and crew maybe trying to throw off the CMU huddle a little bit by having their long snapper and kicker warm up on the field during the duration of that timeout. Miami then proceeds to just run the offense back out onto the field for this 4th down. RedHawks have not converted a 4th down all season. They are 0 for 3.
It's just funny seeing everyone out on the sidelines and then just like the little sense of maybe not panic, but confusion from the Central Michigan sideline when the offense is coming out for this 4th down.
Central Michigan, on the other hand, 10th in the MAC in 4th down defense. Opponents converting 70% of the time. Miami's going to work from the shotgun here. As Henry Hessen in at quarterback has 2 receivers to the left. No one out right but Preston Daniel as the tight end on the right side of the line. Dylan Downing is the running back out of the shotgun. Central Michigan looking like they'll bring heat here. Hessen with a call out to his line. Arms at his sides. Now motions a man tight to the line. Takes the snap. Handoff up the middle. Downing. Men at the line of scrimmage. Second effort, and he got there. Downing gets 1 yard for a Miami 1st down, it appears. Looked like he got very close, but based off the spot, he's got plenty, as it looked like he picked up about 1.5 yards based on where the officials placed the football, and they'll now confirm it. 1st down, RedHawks off the rush to Dylan Downing that goes for 1 yard. It's Miami's first 4th down conversion of the season on their 4th try, and the RedHawks now have it 1st and 10 from the Chippewa 22-yard line with 9:43 and counting to go 2nd quarter.
And that's something we've seen Miami struggle with a little bit this season, is getting those 1 or 2 yards when they really need to, but able to do it there and keep the drive going.
Kevin Davis now in at running back. Miami will fake the pitch that way. Throw to the far side, complete at the sticks. On the sideline, Reggie Virgil gets bottled up after catching the football by Elijah Ricard, the safety. But a good sell there by Henry Hessen. Faked the pitch out left. Found the seam in the zone coverage, and the gain of 12 yards gives Miami a 1st and goal from the Chippewa 10-yard line.
Luke, honestly, when I'm looking at this game, you would have never guessed that Hessen's the backup quarterback the way he's playing so far. First throw, little off, but so far it looks to be in control, in command, doing a good job of leading the RedHawk offense.
Empty set here for the RedHawks. 3 receivers on the right side and 1 on the left. Now Kevin Davis motions from the right slot into the backfield. He gets the pitch out left, and on 1st down, he'll be run out of bounds as Jaden Davis was in his face the whole time. And Davis just got to the edge and got back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the rush, and it will bring up 2nd and goal from the 10. And it's interesting you bring that up, Brian, because as crazy as it sounds, Miami has been in this situation so many times now with Brett Gabbert, their starting quarterback, going down. And last year it was Avion Smith mainly that they turned to, but it has been Hessen as well before, and really every time it has really, really stalled the offense, and Hessen has looked very shaky, but he has looked extremely confident to begin here this afternoon. 2nd down and 10. Hessen looking to throw, has time, lofting corner of the end zone, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Cade McDonald, who didn't really have any separation in one-on-one, looking for a jump ball. Good coverage provided on the play for Central Michigan by Dante Kent. 2-time All-MAC selection and the Chippewas' top cornerback on Miami's best receiver, and Cade McDonald. It's 3rd down and goal from the 10.
Yeah, to go back to your earlier point, Luke, the only game Hessen has really played substantial time. It was the Cure Bowl last year, and as someone that was there, or anyone listening that happened to watch that supposed football game, that was not a fair game to judge on how good he is as a quarterback.
Pounding rain. On 3rd and goal, Hessen throws off his back foot, and it's incomplete. Pressure was coming up the middle, and now a late flag in the backfield, and Central Michigan might have just given Miami a gift. Hessen went down. It looked like Davis was rushing for Central Michigan. Check that. Rather, that might have been Caleb Spann. Or rather, it was Davis. It's a roughing the passer call and an unforced error by the Central Michigan defense. Their pressure got to Henry Hessen. He got rid of it quickly in what was kind of just a throwaway type of throw that fell well short of any Miami target, hoping to avoid the sack, and really well after that football was gone, Davis drives the Miami quarterback into the ground, and that gives Miami a fresh set of downs. So 1st and goal now from the 5. And again, the MAC's second most penalized team now with a second back-breaking penalty. Handoff on 1st and goal. Mosey down the left side with room. The push to the 2. He is walled off there. Keon Mosey gets 3 yards on 1st and goal from the 5. 2nd and goal now from the left hash. Ball up to the 2-yard line of Central Michigan. As we are approaching the midway mark of the 2nd quarter, Miami looking to add to their 10-7 lead.
Yeah, I mean, just to go back from that penalty from Davis, it's just so unnecessary, too. I think it's the biggest thing to take away. I mean, that play was over, just a completely unnecessary hit there. And Central Michigan, once again, gifting Miami.
Hessen from the gun. He's got 2 receivers on the right and 1 on the left. Tight end help on the left side of the line. Running back in Mosey motions from Hessen's right to his left. Gets the handoff, but Central Michigan gets home off the edge. Both edge rushers got to Mosey for a loss of 2 yards. And that will go for a loss as Cade Costas assisted on that tackle for Central Michigan. All sorts of TFLs throughout this Central Michigan defense last week, and now Miami faces 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line.
It 9 TFLs last week for Central Michigan. Certainly not afraid to put the offense back in the backfield.
Twins to the right, nobody left for Miami. 3rd down and goal from the 4. Motion out right. Hessen looks to throw and missed his man, incomplete. Kevin Davis motioned out of the backfield, and Hessen took the snap and threw it to Davis on the run. And there you see a little bit of that inexperience from Miami's backup quarterback, as that's a relatively simple throw that he just kind of rushed, and Miami will be forced to settle for a field goal here with 6:32 remaining in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, you said it there, Luke. Just a little bit of a rush throw, rolling to his outside. It's pretty easy to just let the ball sail a little bit in that type of situation.
From just inside the left hash, Dom Jobin will try from 22 yards away. Hold by Bevelheimer, kick by Jobin, end over end, and he lofts it through. His 2nd try of the game is good with 6:29 to go in quarter number 2. So the penalty extends Miami's drive inside the 10-yard line, but RedHawks ultimately settle for what likely would have been the same result, as a chip shot Dom Jobin field goal puts the RedHawks in front by 6 with 6:29 to go in the 2nd quarter. It's Miami 13 and Central Michigan 7. 12 plays, 46 yards on the drive, culminates in the Jobin field goal, and now the RedHawks, unable to make it a 2-score lead, will turn to their defense for hopefully another quick-paced stop.
And that's the 2nd time today, Luke, where the RedHawk offense has been stopped in the red zone. First time was a penalty, that time just a couple miscues and missed throw there from Hessen. Could be a completely different game if Miami is able to turn those 3s into 6s.
Kellen McLaughlin puts the ball on the tee, and he will boot it away. An end-over-end kick, and after a sour return last time out, Central Michigan will not mess with this. Marion Lukes lets it go for a touchback. Miami was really helped out in field position last time out as the Central Michigan offense returned the kickoff for only 13 yards and then went 3 and out before punting, or got 1 first down, I should say, before ending up behind the sticks in essentially the same spot and then punting. That allowed Miami to get the ball at midfield. This time Central Michigan will start from the 25 and look to get back to what we saw from them on the first drive. Chippewas now work it right to left. 3 receivers on the right side and nobody out left for CMU. Tyler Jefferson in at quarterback. Split time last week, the starter here today. Hands it off on first down, crashing up the middle. Luke's ahead for 3 yards. Falls down at the 28-yard line on the left hash after a pickup of 3. Nazir Washington, who was in for Kobe Hilton, the injured D tackle last week. Career high in passes defended, and he made the stop for Miami at 2nd and 7. 2 receivers out right and 1 out left for Central Michigan, working a little quicker now. Jefferson out of the shotgun, takes the snap, another handoff up the middle. Luke's patient, now accelerates into the pile, across the 30, and he is swung backwards. His forward progress will mark him at the 31-yard line. Finishing hit made on that tackle by Corey Sunnell, and it's 3rd down and 4 for Central Michigan.
Looks like the Red Hawk defense is doing a really good job of adjusting to Luke's. Only has 28 yards on the day so far, probably his worst game of the season, definitely in the last few weeks.
2 receivers left and 1 out right. Pruitt now motions from left to right. Taking the snap, it's a handoff left. Luke's in the backfield, stops his feet, stuttering, and the RedHawks get to him. No gain for Luke's. He gets 3 carries in a row, and Miami is ready. Back-to-back 3-yard pickups, but Miami stonewalls the Chippewa feature back on 3rd down, and the punt unit is back out for CMU as we churn under 5 minutes to go in the opening half. Central Michigan will punt, trailing 13-7.
Yeah, just a really good job from the Red Hawk defense there, stifling the Chippewa rushing attack. Did a good job, get the ball back to your offense. Can't ask for anything more.
Cade McDonald standing back at his own 30-yard line. Miami got a pretty good rush in last time on David Chapo. This time they won't bring as many, and Chapo sends a sky spiraling kick back for Cade McDonald. It skips by him inside the 10 and will set up at the 8-yard line. What a punt by David Chapo, the senior from Athens, Georgia, who kicks it 20 yards over Cade McDonald's head. It is down at the 9-yard line of Miami, and with 4:29 left to play in the half and 2 timeouts, the RedHawks will have a long field to work against after that 60-yard punt, a season long for David Chapo.
Yeah, Chapo, absolute bomb there, completely flipped the field there. Pat McAfee would say that's for the brand. That was a spectacular play.
So the ball to the right hash. Again, Miami with 4:29 left to work with for what we presume they'd like to be the final drive of the half. Henry Hessen in at quarterback for the RedHawks following the Gabbard injury. Has not been back on the field since heading to the locker room. Hessen on first down, fakes the run, throwing deep down the far side, and it's incomplete. Put that in a decent spot for Cade McDonald, but he got a little turned around. Dante Kent was back there hand-fighting with him in coverage and has words for Miami's top receiver as they both head back to the line. It's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, it looked like a pretty good throw from Hessen there. I just wonder if it's the lack of chemistry between him and McDonald, why he wasn't able to bring that in.
2 receivers either side for the RedHawks. Hessen gets the snap and a handoff up the middle, goes backwards. Keon Mosey on the carry. And Central Michigan got to him quickly. We have seen Miami be a little bit lengthy in terms of the time it takes to get the ball from Henry Hessen's hands to these running backs. It has helped them at times with developing holes in the offensive line, but other times the rush just gets to the backfield, and that time it did. A loss of 3 on the stop by Pius Adugo for Central Michigan.
Yeah, I was just about to point that out, Luke. Seems like that mesh has been a little bit slower when Hessen is in. Looks like something you'd see out of like a Wake Forest offense or something like that.
3rd down and 13, empty set. Hessen looks far side, batted in the air, and it falls incomplete. Almost intercepted in the end zone. It was batted up in the air, and 2 Chippewas, it looked like, had a chance at it. Dove at that football. Could have been a pick for 6 with no return, but Miami will have to punt this away after a quick 3 and out. That pass was broken up, and that got very scary for Miami in a hurry.
Oh boy, that was a near disaster for the RedHawks. I mean, the one thing you can't do in that situation is turn the ball over, but Luckily for Miami, ball falls to the ground, and defense going to have to step up again.
Bevelheimer on for the punt. It lands at the 44, takes a Miami bounce. Shimmy shake to the far side and a return into plus territory from Dante Kent. He takes it down to the 47-yard line. A successful return there for Central Michigan. Punt was a little over 40 yards there by Alec Bevelheimer, but probably would have been more had Kent not picked that ball up off the hop and returned it. It's a net of 33 yards.
Did not look good off the foot there, but got a good bounce at least.
Oscar McWood made the stop, and Central Michigan will now start in Miami territory. 3:26 to go. Opening half of play with the Chippewas down 13-7. They get the ball coming out of halftime as well, and they've got it 1st and 10 for the Miami 46. Miami's got 6 men in the box, and on first down, it's a play fake, and the lefty throw down the near side is brought in. Catch made at the 35-yard line by Solomon Davis, the Valparaiso transfer. It's a gain of 12 and a first down.
Yeah, another one of those quick throws from Jefferson gives them a first down. All of a sudden, Central Michigan.
But it flew over his head, and it will be 2nd and 10 with 2:49 remaining in this first half. It's Miami 13, CMU 7. Chippewas working from the RedHawk 34, right to left. Twin stacked left, one man to the right. Gavin Harris, the tight end in the formation, moving to the right side of the line. Handoff right, countering back up the middle. Harris goes backwards. Down to the 37-yard line. Kobe Hilton got back there along with Ty Wise for Miami as they unpack the pile. Oscar McWood will get credit for the tackle as well. And it's 3rd and 13 now for the Chippewas from the 37-yard line. They've got a kicker with a cannon leg in Tristan Matson. They are within his career-long range. However, maybe you'd like to get him some extra yardage or maybe convert this on 3rd and 13. They don't have to snap it before the 2-minute timeout with 2:10 and counting to go. 3rd down and 13 for the Chippewas. Jefferson will take the snap, facing pressure, rolling to the far side, now has room to run. Jefferson scampers out of bounds inside the 30-yard line down to the 28 of Miami. As that carry goes for 9 yards on the keep for Jefferson, the quarterback, with an even 2 minutes left in this first half. He runs out of bounds, and we reach the 2-minute timeout here in the opening half from Oxford. Central Michigan faces a 4th and 4. We will likely see the field goal unit coming out here for CMU, but we'll let you know when we come back. You're listening to Miami Football on Red Hawk Radio. Our score at the 2-minute timeout of the first half is Miami 13 and Central Michigan 7.
This is the hour, the darkest place. Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world, good world gone bad. It's a good world. Good world gone bad.
Under 2 minutes to go in the first half. It's Miami 13, Central Michigan 7. 4th and 4 for the Chips from the RedHawk 28. And they'll send out the field goal unit. Tristan Matson has been super reliable this year, 11 for 12 with a 56-yard long, but he will kick into a ripping headwind from the right hash. This try from 46 yards away for the redshirt senior. High snap, but the hold good, and a side-winding kick is no good. He pushed it, hooking wide left, and Miami holds Central Michigan with the short field starting in RedHawk territory off the board on this offensive drive. RedHawks will take over with 1:56 remaining in the first half and still 2 timeouts. Still leading 13-7.
Yeah, kicked looked good there distance-wise. Couldn't really tell from our view if he made it or not. Spin looked a little bit off, a little knuckleball-ish, but no good. And another good stop for the RedHawk defense.
So we'll see how aggressive Miami wants to be here with, again, their backup quarterback in. Brett Gabbert has not exited the medical room since leaving the sideline. 13-7 the RedHawk lead, and Hessen on first down will hand it off right, and a seam up the middle for Downing as he gets battered. It's Keon Mosey, after picking up 13 yards. Mosey down at the 41-yard line of the RedHawks. And so the play call may be a little conservative for Miami, but now thinking about trying to stretch this field potentially to open up this lead to 2 scores before half.
Great job there by the right side of the offensive line, Colby Borders and Reed Holsky. Great job creating a big hole for Mosey, able to just power through.
RedHawks, though, were set up to snap for the next play and had some movement up front. A false start called on Miami. Makes it 1st and 15 from their own 36-yard line. Just a reminder, Sean Wiesemann has the RedHawk Radio halftime report coming up. Stats and analysis from the first look around the MAC and national scoreboards and preview the second half coming up at the break. And Central Michigan, with that false start penalty, will elect to take the 10-second runoff option. So that will bring the clock down to 1:25. 13-7 our score with Miami leading. 85 seconds remaining in the first half. 2 timeouts for Miami. Clock moving once again. 1st and 15 from Miami's own 36-yard line. Hessen hands it off and up the middle, a few yards there for Keon Mosey. And the RedHawks will try to get lined up quickly. Central Michigan's got timeouts, as it's a gain of 2 to set up 2nd and 13 for the RedHawks. We'll see if Miami even goes to the air here down the stretch. Under a minute to play in this first half. Hessen out of the gun. Takes the snap, faking the run, now looking to throw, rolling near side. Hessen will throw down the field. Catch made by Cade McDonald into CMU territory. A toe tap. McDonald took a big hit along the sideline but hung on. Looked like Hessen on the run, facing pressure, was throwing that away. But on replay, you can see he fit that throw into a really tight area. And that first down gets Miami to the Central Michigan 47-yard line.
And that, I think that changes your strategy a little bit. If you're Miami, now all of a sudden you're playing a lot more aggressively and trying to get points on the scoreboard right before halftime.
Again, ball on the 47 of the Chippewas, 47 seconds remaining in the first half. Miami up 6. Hessen takes the snap, looking to throw, flush to the near side. Hessen gets crushed in the backfield. He stepped up, and Jaden Davis blasted him in the backfield. That's his 2nd sack of the day for number 95 in white. Chuck Martin calls timeout with 41 seconds remaining. That loss will back the RedHawks up 5 yards to their own 48-yard line. And with 41 seconds remaining, Miami behind the sticks now for 2nd down.
Yeah, and you saw Martin a few steps onto the field after that sack talking to Hessen. I think that's just a lack of experience there. The one thing you can't do there is take a sack. I mean, that's definitely can't have that in that situation. Throwing the ball away, just living to learn what another day. You save the timeout and you don't lose any yardage. I think that's just a lack of experience there from Hessen taking that sack.
RedHawks are on their own 48. The target line is just past the first down marker. You're looking a little inside the 35 if you want to try the field goal, and we've mentioned it before, so we'll get to it after this 2nd down play here for the RedHawks. Behind the sticks, Hessen on his own 48-yard line with 41 ticks remaining in this first half. Out of the timeout, will take the snap. Looking to throw. Pressure coming. Throw to the far side. Is complete in space. Cam Perry outside the numbers. Cuts it back in. Perry makes a man miss and now out of bounds at the 33-yard line of Central Michigan. 32 seconds left to play. Miami's got a first down.
We haven't seen Perry a lot this year. That was only his 6th catch on the season. Had 76 yards on the season before that play. But if you get him in open space, he can make a man miss as he did right there. A great play there by Perry to get the first down.
So I was going to mention, again, the RedHawks have a stronger leg in Kellen McLaughlin, who's their kickoff specialist. We've heard that if Miami needs to try a long field goal in a situation like this at the end of the half, they might go to him. But now if the RedHawks can get some more yardage, they could get to Jobin's range. On first down, facing pressure, Hessen tucks and runs and gets good yardage all the way down to the 26-yard line. Chuck Martin saying go, 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 wants to get his guys lined up. But now the RedHawks have a man shaken up, and it's Reggie Virgil, who is in a lot of pain, it looks like, on the near side. And now Chuck Martin calls timeout with 19 seconds remaining. And that is Miami's final timeout of the half. So now you have to be a little careful here if you're the RedHawks. Again, Chuck Martin wanted to get his guys lined up to run one more play potentially, and then reevaluate and keep the timeout in your pocket. But now, if the offense even comes out onto the field for this second down play, you've got to work the sidelines or be absolutely certain you're going to get the first down and then get up and spike. But also now for Miami, you'd hate to see a second impact offensive player go down as Reggie Virgil, one of your top receiving targets, who was out in the secondary trying to work his way free and eventually turned into a blocker for Henry Hessen, is down. But Virgil will be helped up to his feet and is walking off under his own power. He is taking his own helmet off right now as he heads to the sideline. Got a little bit of a limp in his step, and it looks like he's signaling to his right leg. But Virgil makes his way back into the pile. He's not going to the medical tent here. So second down and 3 for Miami. 19 seconds remaining in the first half. No timeouts left for the RedHawks. They're on the 26-yard line of Central Michigan, and they lead it 13-7. Chippewas will get the ball out of halftime. Hessen gets a low snap but handles it. Facing pressure, throwing deep down the field, looking for McDonald in the end zone. It's broken up, incomplete. Miami was looking for a flag. Chuck Martin is irate with the side official, as that was a well-placed throw from Hessen looking for Cade McDonald, but Dante Kent continuing to be impactful with that matchup in the secondary. We can see, though, on replay, he might have got away with one as he kind of drove right into Cade McDonald there and sort of tackled him before the ball got there. Did not get his head around, and that's an unfortunate one for Miami now as they face third down.
And Hessen took an absolute shot when throwing that ball. That ball's a little underthrown because of the pressure there.
Two receivers either side. Hessen looking to throw on third down. Sets his feet, airs it far side. One-handed catch by Tracy at the 4-yard line. Miami will race up to the line of scrimmage. 7 seconds remaining. Hessen signaling clock, clock, clock. It's moving once again, and Miami gets the ball down with 5 seconds to go. Unreal grab by Javon Tracy.
That was a crazy catch. A high throw there from Hessen, as we're seeing it on the Jumbotron now. Going up and getting it with just one hand. That could have been an interception, but instead, Tracy with the catch. 5 seconds left here, Luke. They might have time for one more play, but it looks like Chuck Martin's going to send out the field goal unit and make it a 2-possession game.
This will be a 23-yard field goal with backwind for Dom Jobin. 5 seconds remaining in this first half. Jobin's converted twice already. Bevelheimer's hold down. Kick was nearly blocked off the edge, but Jobin puts it up and through. 1 second remains in this first half, and Dom Jobin's third field goal of the opening 30 minutes has made it Miami 16 and Central Michigan 7. So again, the RedHawks without their starting quarterback in Brett Gabbert. Henry Hessen into the game, and a nearly catastrophic play on the last drive. Saw a short field for Central Michigan, but the defense gets a stop, forces a missed field goal. And overall, Bryan, I think if you're Chuck Martin, Pat Welsh, the rest of this offensive staff, I think you're very pleased with your inexperienced quarterback and how he managed that final drive to get you points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hessen's done a pretty good job on that last drive, and since he's had to come into the game, the stats aren't necessarily pretty. Only 5 for 12, 76 yards and a touchdown, but he hasn't made the critical mistake that you might expect a backup quarterback to make, just trusting the rest of the guys around him and trusting his defense, doing a good job of leading the offense.
Again, 1 second remains, so Miami will have to kick this off. We'll probably see a squib-type boot from Kellen McLaughlin. Central Michigan does have a very dangerous return unit and seems like a no-brainer if you can't drive this out the end zone to keep it away from the back line of Central Michigan. Miami is going to kick this deep, and they will kick it into the end zone for a touchback. So Central Michigan's offense will come out. Down 16-9. Have some whistles here, and doesn't look like anything's going to come out of it. Don't see any flags on the field or anything like that, but Central Michigan will take the ball 1st and 10 from the 25, but we will probably see a kneel here with just 1 second left on the clock from the Chippewas. They are lining up in formation. They're going to work from the shotgun with 2 receivers on the right and 1 on the left for Tyler Jefferson.
You would think just a run here. You would think.
Jefferson will hand it off, and down the far side, Lukes moseys forward, getting 2 yards, but he goes down, and that will wrap up the first half of play. So we will keep an eye on some key injury developments. Reggie Virgil, and most notably, Brett Gabbert for Miami. RedHawks lose their starting quarterback in the first half, but fortunately for the RedHawks, what a job done by Henry Hessen executing as the backup. Over the last couple years, that has been an issue for Miami with Gabbert going down to injury. The RedHawks have struggled to keep the offense moving. Hessen put points on the board on 2 different drives, leading the Miami offense, and they lead it at halftime 16-7. Got to get your thoughts, Bryan, a little bit after that last Miami drive about how Henry Hessen has dealt with things, but again, it's just very impressive given the way that Miami's offense in years past with Gabbert going down to injury has just looked entirely different. They've pretty much stopped completely in terms of moving the football in years past, but the momentum continued for this Miami offense. Having the improved run game helped a little bit as well, but this is the best a Miami backup has looked in throwing the football in some time.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say that the offense, from a schematic standpoint, has really looked all that different. I mean, last year when Brett Gabbert was out and Avion Smith was in, you couldn't really throw the ball downfield that often. It was a rush first, second, and third attack for Miami. But with Hessen in, I wouldn't really say that the offense has really changed that much. It looks like the coaching staff and the rest of the team has full trust in him to throw the ball downfield and lead the offense down the field.
Certainly. So Central Michigan, again, option to receive the second half kickoff for the Chippewas, but work to do for them on the road as they trail it after 30 minutes here from Oxford, 16-7. We'll take a break, and when we come back, Sean Wiesemann has your Red Hawk Radio halftime report, stats and analysis from the first half, a look around the MAC and National scoreboards, and a preview of our second half here from Yager Stadium. That's on the other side of the break. Again, at halftime, our score, Miami 16 and Central Michigan 7. Stay with us. You're listening to Miami football on Red Hawk Radio.
And welcome back to the halftime show. I'm your host, Sean Wiesemann, here with an exciting and a great first half for the RedHawks in a game against the Central Michigan Chippewas, in which the score is 16-7 RedHawks at the half. A couple notable things before I get into some scores and highlights around the country. As we saw the injury to Brett Gabbert, he is not expected to return, but things obviously could change here. But according to our journalist, Keith and Babu, he says doesn't look like it's going to happen. So we'll see. Also, Reggie Virgil, we don't have word on him yet, but he is somebody we will need to keep an eye out for in the second half as well. So some scores and highlights around the country. Ohio State in a real dogfight against Nebraska, rather. The score 21-17 Ohio State after a massive targeting penalty on Ohio State has extended Nebraska's drive, but it looks like it's about 3rd and 19 at Nebraska's 37 with under 2 minutes left here, and actually looks like just threw an interception, so there you go. Might be game for the Buckeyes, who barely escape from an upset victory by the Cornhuskers. And Ole Miss, after a very slow start against Oklahoma, after as you can see many fans on Twitter calling for him to be fired, Lane Kiffin that is, 18th ranked Rebels, able to squeeze by Oklahoma with about 2.5 minutes left, up 26-14. Jackson Dart 20-28 for 306 yards and a touchdown. BYU and UCF, 11th ranked Cougars, are at Central Florida, and it looks like that game is just kicking off. And a couple other games about to kick off here. 20th ranked Illinois at Oregon, and 21st ranked Missouri at 15th ranked Alabama. And at the 4:15 slot, you have 5th ranked Texas versus 25th ranked Vanderbilt. In the Mid-American, you have Northern Illinois and Ball State just kicking off, and Toledo, Bowling Green just kicking off, and Kent State and Western Michigan just starting now. And Eastern Michigan and Akron look like they are about to kick off any second now. With the only other game that's actually been played is Ohio beating Buffalo 47-16, which is a very surprising result given the strength of Buffalo's defense. However, it looks like a strong second half performance from Ohio with a 23-point second half, able to ultimately pull away for the Bobcats. Now on to some stats and highlights for today for the RedHawks. It started with a really big run up the middle for, a pass to Javon Tracy to the Central Michigan 10 for a first down, but after a false start and a couple other bad play calls, it ended up with, just nothing much, and able to only kick a field goal for the RedHawks. The Central Michigan then proceeded to go down on a 15-play, 75-yard, 8-minute drive, and that made it 7-3 Central Michigan. But hold on just a minute. Brett Gabbert said, no, not quite, not going to happen, and a Keon Ramosi 72-yard run took it down to the 7-yard line, and a couple runs, and unfortunately, even after Gabbert got hurt, Henry Hessen was able to lay it into Reggie Virgil for 9 yards for a touchdown and a 5-play, 75-yard, 2-minute and 10-second drive. And after a punt from Central Michigan, the ensuing possession, Miami was able to kick a field goal, 22-yard field goal from Dom Jobin on a 12-play, 46-yard drive. And a couple punts and a missed field goal from Central Michigan led to a field goal right before the half for Dom Jobin with 1 second left to put the current score here for the RedHawks 16-7. Some stat leaders, Tyler Jefferson, the passing leader for the Chippewas today, only throwing 6 passes, but he's got 42 yards on 4 of 6 passing. Marion Lukes really struggling today, the leading rusher for Central Michigan with 11 carries for 30 yards. Tyler Jefferson, 5 carries for 26 yards, and not a whole lot else offensively. And then leading receiver for the Central Michigan Chippewas is Evan Boyd with 2 catches for 21 yards. And like I mentioned, that's just not been a whole lot going for them. And a couple sacks, though, today from Central Michigan with Jaden Davis and Michael Heldman each getting a sack. And overall, though, Central Michigan, given how often they've been pinned back deep, has really done a good job of defensively from stopping Miami from getting any consistent red zone production. On the other end of things for Miami, Brett Gabbert still the leading passer of 4 or 5 passing for 83 yards. However, he looks to be out for the game, so it looks like Henry Hessen is in for the RedHawks. He is 5 of 12 for 76 yards passing and a touchdown. And he, although obviously 5 of 12 isn't exactly what ideal, it certainly bodes well given that this is the best offensively we've seen. We've seen A.J. Mayer come in for Brett Gabbert in 2021. We saw Avion Smith come in for Brett Gabbert in 22 and 23, and in none of those games have they looked as good as they have, as Henry Hessen has today. It certainly helps when you have Keon Mosey running the ball for a good 9 carries for 92 yards, including a massive 72-yard run that led to their only touchdown today. Additionally, they've got a couple of guys who have been really big games. Javon Tracy with a 41-yard catch. He leads the RedHawks with 4 catches for 82 yards. And, you know, the defense has been outstanding with a ton of TFLs and sacks. A sack for Adam Trick on a really nice play, and 4 TFLs, including a TFL and a half for Oscar McWood. Some takeaways from today thus far. It's been really disappointing, obviously, to see Gabbert hurt, and you certainly hope that he's going to be okay long-term, given that he's had multiple season-ending injuries in a row. But like I mentioned before, it bodes really well for the offense that they haven't had to change a whole lot of their game plan to match what Central Michigan is doing. They're still able to move the ball and able to do what they want to do offensively. And seeing that Henry Hessen is able to do that for them bodes very well for the offense in the future if Gabbert is out for more than just today. On the other side of things, Central Michigan, it was a little surprising to see that just Tyler Jefferson get in today. I wonder if Jim McElwain, the head coach for Central Michigan, decides to maybe change some things up here in the second half, as Bert Emanuel actually had more total yards for the Chippewas in the game against Eastern Michigan last week, and I wonder if they look to him to provide a spark, as Joe Labus, the starting quarterback to begin the season, is out for the year after an injury suffered a couple weeks ago against Ohio. I'll take a break here real quick with about 10 minutes until we get to the second half kickoff. I'm Sean Wiesemann. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll be right back here in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to Red Hawk Radio. I am Sean Wiesemann here hosting your halftime show with the Central Michigan Chippewas down 9 to the Miami RedHawks, a 16-7 game, as the RedHawks have been firmly in control for the majority of this game. And just to revisit some keys to the game, as I talked about at the beginning before the game started here, it was one of the keys I mentioned was to keep the clock moving for Central Michigan, and I just wanted to say I am very impressed with how the RedHawks have been able to stay on the field despite Central Michigan only passing the ball 6 times. It's been, in terms of time of possession, in fact, Miami actually leads with 15 minutes and 39 seconds to Central Michigan's 14 minutes and 21. And considering the fact that Central Michigan leans so heavily on the run, that is incredibly good to see. Additionally, Marion Lukes for Central Michigan has just kind of not really done a whole lot. He had one big 15-yard run, but otherwise, he on 11 carries, he only has a net of 30 yards, and Tyler Jefferson isn't really helping him out a whole lot with only 5 carries for 26 yards and a big 17-yard run. But you definitely have to be at least a little bit impressed with the run defense for the RedHawks, given that they know how even that the RedHawks know that the Chippewas can run it basically on command. It did so at times against Eastern Michigan. RedHawks aren't letting that happen today. And like I mentioned too, Miami. Another question I asked for Miami's key to the game was, can they hold up against 2 great defensive backs? And the answer has been a pretty resounding yes, they can. They've combined from Gabbard and Henry Heston, the backup who came in after Gabbard's injury. They're combined for over 150 yards and a touchdown and only been sacked twice. And, I had a couple of, miscues. I know Heston had a ball that was almost intercepted at the goal line before throwing his first touchdown pass to Reggie Virgil. But otherwise, it was, it's been pretty solid for the RedHawks. And you certainly like to see that as a Miami fan. And additionally, we talked about the special teams for Central Michigan, how strong they are of a unit. And actually, it's been really good for the RedHawks in that regard, as well as, punting. In terms of, obviously, they had a really great punt from David Chapeau, but otherwise, in terms of punt returns, Dante Kent only has 1 punt return for 6 yards, and Marion Lukes only has a 13-yard kick return. And both of those guys have returns for touchdowns from the punting and kick return units. Additionally, they forced a missed field goal on a 47-yard field goal from the kicker Tristan Matson. Miami did. So really great to see that as well. Additionally, you like to see Miami getting ahead in the first downs in the department and helping to move the ball a lot in that regard. And you also like to see they're not turning the ball over a lot either, especially with a backup quarterback. It feels like he would be more likely to turn the ball over. Yet Henry Heston, although he's had a couple near misses, certainly not the kind of drastic misses that you would expect from a guy who's just fresh off the bench, barely played at all in his Miami career here, and yet here he is playing like kind of a similar ball game to Gabbard. Obviously not comparing the two exactly, but certainly has been very impressive in his limited action thus far. One thing I'm going to keep an eye on today before we get back to the second half with about 4 minutes until the second half kickoff is I want to keep an eye on Keon Mosey. Other than that 72-yard run, which was a very, very big run, like I mentioned, he's only got 8 carries for 20 yards, and so you look to see him get more involved and maybe open up the run lanes a little bit better for his offensive line. And then on the other side of things, you look for Marion Lukes to potentially open up things for his quarterback, Tyler Jefferson, who, like I mentioned, has only thrown the ball 6 times. And because of that, it looks like Marion Lukes hasn't really had a whole lot of room to work with. We're about 3.5 minutes away until second half kickoff. I'll kick it back to my friends Luke and Bryan here on Red Hawk Radio. Thank you so much for listening to the halftime show. We'll get back to you in just a minute.
Second half on the way here from Yager Stadium. After 30 minutes, our score is Miami 16 and Central Michigan 7 with Bryan Miller alongside Luke Poley with you on a beautiful sunny afternoon from Yager Stadium. Fall in Oxford, and the RedHawks in that first half, 3 Dom Jobin field goals and a touchdown, have them up 2 scores. Central Michigan will get the ball to begin half number 2. However, story of that first half was for Miami. Brett Gabbert down with an injury again. I do see Gabbert, he's got his helmet off, but currently sitting on the bench right now. Was just chatting with Henry Hessen, who took over at quarterback for Miami. For Gabbert, it was a left non-throwing shoulder injury that took him out after he took a sack. But overall, Bryan, pretty good job done by Henry Hessen. Not a ton of experience for the redshirt sophomore headed in, but looked relatively comfortable. Had a few plays where you could see the growing pains he was experiencing, but a couple of brilliant throws. The first to get Miami into the end zone, and then the latest was a big catch to Cade McDonald that got the RedHawks in business to set up the eventual field goal at the end of the half to put them up 2 scores. And this is a lot better than what we have been so used to seeing for Miami in years past, which has been Gabbert injury, and then the offense just comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah, absolutely. They usually say when the starting quarterback's out, everyone else needs to step up, and that's certainly been the case here today.
End-over-end kick from Kellen McLaughlin, and this one is past the end zone and not returnable. A touchback will bring the Central Michigan offense back out. Again, this is a CMU offense that has seen a revolving door of quarterbacks this year. Last week, they started with Tyler Jefferson. They ended up going with Bert Emanuel Jr., who had a fair amount of success for the Chippewas in the losing effort, but Emanuel Jr. hurt. He was listed out on the injury report for this game, and it was Jefferson in the first half, 4 for 6 for 42 yards, but mostly the running game of Central Michigan, 61 yards on the ground that got it done. They scored on their first drive, but were largely held off after that. Had a short field at the end of the half and missed a field goal. On first down, they hand it off to the right, and it's Lukes who carried the bulk of the carries in the first half, who gets to the edge and grabs 2 yards before sliding down on the turf.
Yeah, Central Michigan's been really limited offensively with Bert Emanuel Jr. out. After the first drive, they did really well in the first drive, rushing the ball. But then after that, they've had drives of 2 yards, 6 yards, 18 yards, and 2 yards if you want to count the last drive where there was only a second left of the half. So the Miami defense has been really good in shutting down this CMU rushing attack.
And the Wildcat snap in the backfield for Lukes. He gets swarmed. Lukes rather just took the snap and just kind of stood there hopping up and down for a couple seconds, hoping for something to develop in front of him. But then 4 RedHawks emerged from the line of scrimmage, and it was Matt Salopek and Ty Wise that got him for a loss of 7 back to the 20-yard line of Central Michigan. It's 3rd down and 15 for the Chips.
Yeah, case in point right there, Luke. Just a perfect play by the RedHawk defense, puts the Chippewas in a 3rd and long situation.
3rd down and 15, 2 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Delayed handoff, and again dropped for a loss. Lukes goes backwards. Matt Salopek off back-to-back huge weeks, an interception in the last 2 games, getting involved in the run game to the backfield untouched for the defending Mac DPOY. It's a 4-yard loss, and CMU will punt.
Yeah, just another phenomenal play from Salopek there. You could really see the Miami defensive front and the linebackers have really just been eating up on this Central Michigan rushing attack in front after the first drive for CMU.
David Chapeau, last time out, boomed a 60-yarder. This one comes off the side of the foot, and a shank down the left side will reach about midfield and fall short of it by 2 yards. Cade McDonald was waiting at his own 43-yard line, maybe giving a little extra respect to the Central Michigan punter at a career-long 60-yard boot his last time out. But this one spins out of bounds at the Chippewa 48-yard line. And that's where the Miami offense will come out 1st and 10. And great news for the RedHawks, Brett Gabbert is out there for Miami. So for the moment, crisis averted for the RedHawks. Brett Gabbert is back into the game after going out near the end of the first quarter. He missed the rest of the half. Gabbert with the non-throwing shoulder injury is back into the game at QB for Miami. Working out of the shotgun, rolling left, he'll throw immediately, and caught by Cade McDonald. He gets met immediately by Kent, who will tie him out of bounds. at around the 42-yard line. That's been a matchup to watch all day long. This time McDonald finally wins it for a 6-yard gain, but can't escape for more. 2nd down and 4 coming up for the Miami offense, and if there was any doubt about how Chuck Martin feels about his quarterback, Bryan, letting him go to the air right away.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting a lot of trust in the 6th-year senior. I think that trust is very warranted. I think you got to trust Gabbert in this situation.
1 receiver on the left, 2 on the right for Brett Gabbert in the shotgun. Mosey as the back will move from Gabbert's right to his left hip. Gabbert takes the snap, fumbles with it a little bit, but juggling and handing off to Mosey, who counters down the left side, and bullets inside the 40-yard line, darting down to the 39 for a pickup of about 3 yards. Sets up 3rd down and 1 from the 39-yard line of Central Michigan as we roll towards the 3-minute mark of the second half. Miami in the first half was 2 for 6 on 3rd down. They'll face 3rd down and 1, leading at 16-7. Big boys up front, just one man split out wide. Gabbert in the single back formation with Keon Mosey as the back behind him. Gabbert now motioning to the end of his line, and he'll step back now into the shotgun. Mosey will head to Gabbert's right. Hand off to Mosey down the left side of the line, met in the backfield, and second effort, he gets through somehow inside the 35, down to the 34-yard line. Mosey just disappeared into the pile there and came out on the other side after a pickup of 6 yards on 3rd and 1. Looks like he might go down for about a 2 or 3 yard loss. Instead, he moves the chains with a clutch 3rd down conversion, and the RedHawks have it 1st and 10 from the Chippewa 34.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to be stopped short there, but just moving the pile. Great run there from Mosey.
1st and 10 for the RedHawks. 2 receivers both sides for Gabbert from the gun. Ball on the left hash, Miami taking it left to right, wind at their backs, and the RedHawks will take the snap. Gabbert play fake, looking to throw, now steps up, facing pressure, and he'll go down. Back at the 40-yard line. They'll give him the 39, but Gabbert is sacked. Michael Feldman, who had half a TFL last week and 2 QB hurries, this time gets home, and Miami, after they pass protected so well last week, no sacks allowed against the Ohio Bobcats, give up another. That's now the 3rd Miami's allowed in this game and puts the RedHawks behind the 6, 2nd and 14.
Yeah, if you want to say there's been a big weakness in the Miami offense so far today, I think it would just be giving up those sacks. That's just especially critical when you're barely in plus territory.
Miami a little off schedule here. Play action on 2nd down. Gabbert hurls to the near side, caught by Cam Perry, but he gets tackled in the open field. Big stop by Deron McKinney as Perry shuffled backwards trying to make him miss. But McKinney just sucked him in the open field, and it will go for a gain of 5. 3rd down and 9 resulting for Miami from the 33-yard line of the Chippewas.
Yeah, great play there by McKinney. We saw Cam Perry get loose for a play in the first half, but McKinney able to shut it down there.
9:33 to go, 3rd quarter. RedHawks up by 9. Gabbert out of the shotgun on 3rd down and 9. Ball in the right hash. Takes the snap. Looking left. Throwing left. It's a low throw and it's incomplete. Falling at the feet of Cade McDonald. Had a little bit of separation on that out route working against Dante Kent once more. But now this is a difficult situation to be in if you're Miami. You're faced with a 4th and 9. But this is really the edge of Dom Jobin's range. But with the wind at the RedHawks' back, we will see Chuck Martin try this. This will be a 51-yarder for Dom Jobin, his first attempt of 50-plus since the opener, his first kick of his career after moving from the punting role against Northwestern. Jobin will try with the wind at his back from the right hash from 51 yards away. Central Michigan will put a man back there. Snap good, hold down, kick, has the leg, and it is good from Dom Jobin. 51-yarder, a career long for Jobin, and that had room to spare.
Yeah, he just absolutely drilled that. I'm sure the wind behind him helped a little bit, but can't ask for anything more. The Miami kicking dominance continues as he brought the boom there.
Brought the boom, he hit the bring the boom dance on the end of it. That was good from probably 55-plus for Jobin, who again in windy conditions lakeside at Northwestern attempted from 50 yards out and fell pretty far short in his first ever field goal attempt in college. after he was Miami's punter 2 years ago. He missed all of last year with injury. Kicking unit was then fine for the majority of non-conference, but nothing really special like it was last year for Miami when they had Graham Nicholson, who won the Lou Groza Award. But Jobin has really broken out since that UMass game where he made a pair of clutch kicks, back-to-back season longs for him against UMass. As the RedHawks, you remember, drove down with 40 seconds left on the clock and no timeouts from their own end of the field all the way to the UMass side. And Jobin hit from 46 and 47 in that UMass game as time expired first and then in overtime to bring Miami to an improbable first win of the year. And since then, the kicking unit really has not looked back. And for a RedHawk team that has Chuck Martin as their head coach now in his 11th season, Miami has gotten so used to great kicking units over the years. And that's back to the form that the RedHawks are accustomed to here this year. With 9:19 to go in the third quarter, it's Miami 19 and Central Michigan 7. Dom Jobin has connected on 4 field goals so far. And again, a huge sigh of relief after we saw Brett Gabbard come out of the locker room in pads and then come out and play out in the field for this Miami offense, and really did not look like he was hindered at all.
No, didn't miss a beat at all. I mean, able to lead the RedHawks downfield, able to get another field goal onto the board. Luke, Miami has scored on 5 of their 6 drives today, so it seems like no matter who the quarterback is for the RedHawks, they've been able to put up points on the board. It's also pretty telling for how this game has gone that Miami only has 6 drives, and we have 9 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah,
you don't see that often.
A lot of long drives here in this game. Just a reminder, Sean Wiesemann has your post-game show coming up after this one, and then we'll have a nightcap for you from across town. Katie Arena will be our site tonight. Bryan will be with you at 6:35 tonight for Red Hawk Radio pregame coverage of Miami hockey in their second game of the series against Lindenwood. And I'll be on the call alongside Jeff Middleton coming up at 7:05 tonight from across town at Steve Katie Arena. Here at Yager Stadium, it's Miami 19 and Central Michigan 7 with 9:19 to go in the third quarter. Chippewas set to get the ball back for their second offensive drive. RedHawks lost Brett Gabbard for the majority of that first half with a non-throwing shoulder injury. He returned on that last drive, and Miami got a field goal out of it to move up 12 points. End-over-end kick falls at the 5-yard line of Central Michigan, and running forward across the 20-yard line, Marion Lukes sidesteps beyond the 20 to the 22-yard line. A late flag came in. Kellen McLaughlin was exchanging words with a player on special teams for Central Michigan where that flag came in, and then McLaughlin was fired up coming to the sideline. He might have got a rise out of somebody on that CMU special teams unit, and that might hurt this field position here for the Chippewas.
And we've seen Central Michigan today have some very costly penalties that have extended Miami drives. Now it'd be the opposite. They could really back them up if it's on them.
Yeah, it's an unnecessary roughness call as McLaughlin got taken down there by Jermanuel Tanalis for Central Michigan. And that will back the Chippewas up to their own 11-yard line, half the distance to the goal. And yeah, really, Central Michigan probably is looking at 6 to 10 less points on the board for Miami, should it not have been for some very undisciplined and unnecessary penalties. And now it hurts their field position for this offensive drive. 1st and 10 Chippewas from their own 11-yard line. Ball on the right hash for Tyler Jefferson. Taking the snap, it's a play action on first down, setting his feet with time to throw, airing it down the far side of the field. It is broken up. It fell in the breadbasket of the intended target in Chris Parker on the far side. But guess who? It's Rayon Strader back in coverage. Entered the week just one pass defended shy of the national lead, tied with Miami's Silas Walters for 5th in the country, and he gets the pass breakup for 2nd and 10.
Yeah, Strader, yet again, huge play for the Red Hawk defense to open up the second half. That's the first time all day we've really seen Central Michigan push the ball downfield in the pass game.
And on 2nd down, a handoff down the right side, bullying forward Bailey. Snags a couple of yards. He is tripped up at the 14-yard line of Central Michigan. Stop made by Corey Suttle, it looked like, for the RedHawks, along with Matt Salopek. Gain of 3 sets up 3rd down and 7 for the Chips. They're 2 for 7 today, operating right to left into a headwind from their own 14-yard line. 8:36 to go, clock moving, 3rd quarter. Chippewas trail it 19-7. 3 receivers wide to the left, 1 wide right, with the ball on the right hash. Man in motion from left to right. Jefferson gets the snap, pressure off the edge. Jefferson steps up, now he'll tuck and run, getting near the sticks. Jefferson leaning forward, he gets crushed right at the line to gain, and it looks like he's a half-yard short. Ambe Caldwell made the stop for Miami on the QB keep. Officials might think about measuring this here. Central Michigan has already run their punt unit out. It's a gain of 7. But they will move the spot back just a hair, it looks like, in the nose of the football. A couple feet short of the line to gain. CMU will punt it.
Just another great play from the RedHawk defense there. Jefferson got loose, but a whole swarm of RedHawks able to meet him just before the 1st down marker.
A little bit of a shank last time out. Now a sky kick from Chapeau. Fair catch called for by Cade McDonald, and he makes it around the 36-yard line of Miami, backpedaling a couple of yards. So we've seen a short kick, we've seen a long kick. That's the first one from Chapeau. That's been about average here in this one, and Miami will take it from the 37. That's where the ball is marked on their own half of the field, with 7:34 remaining in this 3rd quarter. Brett Gabbert in the offense back out, with the RedHawks leading 19-7 when we return to Yager Stadium. You're listening to Miami football on RedHawk Radio. RedHawk offense back on the field, 7:34 to go, 3rd quarter. It's Miami 19, Central Michigan 7. Another stop by the Miami defense, and this game's just kind of been plodding along. There was the brief storyline in the 2nd quarter of Brett Gabbert going down with an injury, but he's back. Led the offense to a field goal off a short field last time out, and now with a 12-point lead, works from his own 37-yard line, left to right. Gabbert takes the snap on 1st down, fakes the handoff, throws near side. It is caught. Reggie Virgil making his way out of bounds. That was almost jumped by Jeree Turner Kinsler, who could have caught that and probably run the red carpet the other way for 6. Instead, it's a catch for 7 yards for Virgil. Another guy it's good to see back after he went off the field with injury late in that 1st half. 2nd and 3 coming up for the Hawks from the 44-yard line.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely good to see them both back out there. RedHawks pretty much back to full strength.
Two receivers on both sides. Keon Mosey's the back with Gabbard working from the shotgun. Claps his hands, gets a snap near his left shoulder, slings it out wide. Hauled in by Cade McDonald. Slipping a tackle. Cade McDonald escapes down the far sideline inside the Central Michigan 40. He's finally wrestled out of bounds at the 36-yard line of the Chippewas. McDonald held that ball with the edge of his fingertips. Initially got hold of it and then split off a tackle. Another first down for the RedHawks to get them into CMU territory. A gain of 20 for Cade McDonald to the Chippewa 36.
Man, he's just so good with the ball in his hands and open space in front of him. Only had 2 receptions before that, and that was 41 yards on the day.
6.5 to go, third quarter. Miami leads it by 12. Clock moving, and see a signal off the far sideline and a timeout called by Central Michigan. Oh, goodness gracious. So head coach Jim McElwain must have really not liked the look he had defensively, because trailing by 2 possessions in the third quarter, you do not want to be calling timeouts on defense.
Yeah, absolutely not. That's that's a killer right there. You're going to definitely need all the timeouts that you need later in this game if you're Central Michigan.
So that brings the game to a halt with 6:25 to go. Gives us a little bit of time to reminisce on days of old. Believe it or not, 2 MAC championships ago for Miami. Way back in 2019, Brett Gabbert was a young true freshman. He was the first true freshman to start for the RedHawks in about 20 years. And in 2019, Gabbert led this Miami football team to Detroit. And in Jim McElwain's first year as the head coach of Central Michigan, he inherited that program in a rough spot, turned them around. They won the West. And Miami, after a bit of a rough start to the year and kind of an improbable run to Detroit, ended up taking down Central Michigan for the MAC title. It was the first in the tenure of Chuck Martin. He then picked up his second last year against the Toledo Rockets in Detroit. And again, Miami's destiny to repeat still in front of them, despite losing their MAC opener to the Rockets in a rematch of last year's championship game. RedHawks have rattled off 2 straight wins now in conference in dominant fashion, nothing short of it, and hoping to ride this one out for a 3rd straight as well to move back to 500 on the year. Gabbert was only about a 50% passer in that game, but really didn't need to be too much better. Jack Sorensen was the offensive MVP for Miami with over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. And shout out to Oxford native and my longtime neighbor Maurice Thomas, who ran the opening kickoff of that game back for a touchdown for Miami to get them sparked and ready. Meanwhile, the officials have made an announcement since the timeout that they're going to go to the monitor and go look at something down there. Targeting. So they're looking at potential targeting here.
Yeah, I didn't really see anything initially, so
they're looking at the spot, excuse me. So not, I was going to say, didn't really look like there was anything there, and it's not for targeting. It's rather for the spot of the ball, as McDonald spent a lot of those yards after catch tiptoeing the sideline. So the officials are going to check to see where exactly he stepped out. The call on the field was that he didn't step out until the very end of that play at the 36. So really this review could only make the spot worse for Miami, as McDonald ran about 10 yards up the sideline and really at any point could have tipped his foot on the sideline.
Yeah, he was getting really close to touching the sideline initially. It looked like he almost got pushed out. I wonder if that's why Jim McElwain took that timeout, or if it's just a coincidence that they're able to get a review out of it. I mean, if they're able to reverse this call and push it back, I'd say that timeout from Central Michigan might be worth it at the end of the day.
Certainly, especially if you could get a stop defensively, because now, if you're Miami, especially with Dom Jobin coming off a career-long field goal attempt of 51 on your last drive, you're only a couple yards away from that territory. You're still kicking to the open end of the stadium with backwind. Now we'll get our call. Okay, so it was a challenge, it looks like, by Central Michigan, and they lost it. So McDonald did not step out of bounds at any point until the end of the play. The call on the field stands, and again, it was not a timeout as what was initially said over the PA, but rather a Central Michigan challenge, but they will still lose the timeout now because they lost the challenge. So Miami works from the 36-yard line, 6:25 to go on Central Michigan's half of the field in this third quarter, leading by 12. Gabbert, play action, throwing deep down the field. Tracy's wide open, and he pulls it in for the touchdown. Javon Tracy just got away, and no one-handed grab was needed that time. He had all sorts of green room to work his way in. A 36-yard hookup between Tracy and Gabbert, and the RedHawks are into the end zone for the second time with the big hitter. Miami makes it 25-7 with 6:18 remaining in the third.
And the downfield passing attack continues yet again for Miami. Looked like a breakdown in coverage there from Central Michigan. And Miami able to capitalize and really blow this game open.
Dom Jobin on for the PAT. And he knocks it through. And again, so encouraged after the rough start Miami had in MAC play. Not only that they've been winning these last couple of weeks, but similarly to what we're now seeing today, Bryan, once they've taken the lead, they've shown the ability to really get their foot on the gas and get going to put space between they and their opponents in the second half. They now lead it by 19 with just over 6 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah, absolutely. It's shaping up to be pretty similar to that game last week against Ohio. It's close for a little bit, and then Miami really blows it open in the second half. Just a huge play there from Gabbert. Offense really flexing their muscles now.
Gabbert now 9 for 11 for 157 yards and a touchdown. Henry Hessen 5 for 12 for 76 yards and a TD as well. And Central Michigan now finds themselves down 19 points. It's a 3-score game, and the Chippewas are down to 2 timeouts as well after losing that challenge. This is going to be an uphill climb for the Chips on the road, who really have shown no signs of offense since that opening drive where they moved down the field with efficiency. Kellen McLaughlin ready to kick this one away, and the ball meets his right foot, and it will land in the end zone for a touchback. So the offense for the Chippewas will come out at the 25-yard line. And Bryan really maybe just puzzling on the Central Michigan side with how this offense has worked throughout the game. You love what you saw on that first drive. The team really was not resisted on that side of the ball at all. They moved down the field without much issue and punched it in the end zone. And since then, it has been a stark difference.
Yeah, Luke, they're really just not built to come from behind, especially by this many points. They just can't really get anything going in the passing game, as Jefferson was only 2 for 8 last week and is 4 for 7 today.
On first down, they'll hand it off. Counter to the left side and space opening up for Harris. He's got a first down and more, moving outside the numbers. B.J. Harris dragged down from behind by Silas Walters at the 42-yard line. It's a gain of 17, and Central Michigan needs to get that explosivity going in the run game. That's a good start for the Chippewa offense, who will hurry things up a little bit, not huddling up for this next play. 1st and 10 Chippewas from the pistol, 2 tight ends on the right side of the line, 1 receiver on each side, and a play fake and throw near side of the field. It's knocked down, incomplete at the line of scrimmage. There's a RedHawk that's slow to get up, and it will fall incomplete. That was almost an interception, and it looked like it was Matt Salopek for Miami that got his hand to that football to break it up. He was certainly in the area, and that could have been 3 games in a row for the Miami linebacker with a pick.
That would have just been a phenomenal interception, just leaping up. I don't think Jefferson ever even considered that an interception would be a possibility there.
So instead it falls incomplete. The injured RedHawk is Ty Wise, who is helped up to his knees, and Wise has not been at 100% really since MAC play has started. He missed some time, and then he came back in. Chuck Martin mentioned, I believe it was in the press conference last week, how big of a lift it was to have Wise for the Eastern Michigan game in a limited capacity. Wise was not available in all formations, but the RedHawks kind of rationed his use and decided when it was the best to use him versus hold him on the bench as one of their best playmakers.
Yeah, Martin, that presser, he mentioned that Wise was only available in pass rushing situations, so like third down, obvious passing situations. And Luke, I believe he was able to get a sack or sack and a half in that game anyway, so a pretty incredible performance there from the senior Wise.
He had a TFL last week too, and like you mentioned, yeah, he really has not seen a full workload since MAC play has started, but even in only about 50% of the time that he's been on the field, he has been so impactful, and he's been helped off, and it now looks like he'll be walked into the tent. But for now, following that near interception, Central Michigan will go Wildcat here for 2nd down and 10, and now we get stoppage, and it looks like an official's timeout here. Looking at the scoreboard, we might get a clock reset. Yeah, they'll put 7 more seconds on it. So 5:44 is what's on the clock in this third quarter. Miami leads at 26-7. Interesting that last incompletion from Jefferson, really all the completions he's had, 4 of them in total, have come on that same play. Just a very quick pass to the near side of the field, but now they'll go Wildcat. And with a motion man, Jeffers will hand it off down the right side. It is Harris that slips through, approaching midfield. He is double-teamed down at the 49-yard line after escaping to the perimeter. Gain of 7 on 2nd down and 10 sets up a manageable 3rd and 3 for the Chippewas as we approach 5 minutes to play in the third.
Yeah, Miami had pretty much everyone in the box. CMU just had a one-on-one on the outside. They decided to run it to the outside, almost broke free, but another good tackle from a pair of RedHawks there.
Twins tight to the line left, one receiver spread out right. Jefferson in the pistol. He hands it off. It's Harris tackled from behind, leaning forward. He's very close. Tripped up by his shoelaces, but he has enough. The length gets him 3 yards. Silas Walters on the tackle, but enough for a 1st down for the CMU ball carrier, B.J. Harris. Just 3 carries last week. Harris already now with 5 of them for 29 total yards, and it's 1st and 10.
Yeah, and in a drive where Central Michigan desperately needs to get points, they've done a pretty good job re-energizing this rushing attack. We've seen some more Wildcat looks and seem to be moving the ball down the field.
From the Miami 48 out of the pistol, Jefferson delayed handoff. He fakes, rolls near side, throwing high and incomplete. He was facing pressure from behind by Bryan Ugu, along with Savio Frazier. His intended target, Tommy McIntosh, was pretty wide open on that softer zone coverage from Miami. Luke Evans was available over the top, but was a couple yards behind the receiver. And there's a flag in the backfield, and it looks like a penalty on Central Michigan. It's holding on the offense. There was some issue with the PA, but William Williams gave the announcement. It'll back Central Michigan up. Miami electing to accept the penalty, and instead of the incompletion, it'll be 1st and 20 with the down kept for Central Michigan. They'll back up to their own side of the field, now to the 42-yard line. Ball on the right hash. CMU working right to left into the headwind with the white uniforms. Clock moving once again. 4:18 to go. Third quarter. Handoff down the right side for Lukes. Maybe a second of space, but he is closed off rather quickly across the 45 to the 46. Gain of 4 on 1st down for Central Michigan's top running back before Corey Settle got to him. So we move under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. It's Miami 26 and Central Michigan 7, 2nd and 16 for the Chippewas.
I mean, that was just such a crucial holding penalty there for Central Michigan. They're just not built to withstand getting behind the chains with their lack of passing attack right now.
Movement up front and another flag, and Miami defense is fired up. We're going to see more yardage lost. It is a false start for Central Michigan on Martin Koivisto, the backup offensive lineman, who is in at left guard, it looks like, for Central Michigan. And that makes it 2nd and 21 now from their own 41-yard line.
Yeah, Central Michigan, they've had to do some reshuffling on the O-line. Their top 2 left tackles, Vashawn Bailey and Jameel Jackson, both out today, so different look on the front.
Wildcat formation, and again, the end-around handoff goes to Harris, and this time Miami gets to him in the backfield. Charge led by Corbin Hondrew, down for a 1-yard loss around the edge. This time Harris cannot work free, and it's 3rd down and 22 now for Central Michigan, who was moving pretty efficiently, but since crossing midfield has gone nowhere but backwards. It's now 3rd and a mile.
Yeah, Corbin Hondru, the redshirt junior from Pennsylvania, really been a pleasant surprise for this Miami defense. Just another stud linebacker for the RedHawks.
Empty set for Jefferson. The lefty quarterback takes the draw and will run left. He's tripped up just across the 45, stumbling to the 47, and now a wrestling match ensues behind the play. Miami's got to be careful. A flag came in, and who's the penalty going to be on? Oh no, this is stopped well short. For the RedHawks, it looked like Ty Wise potentially was tied up there with Brady Plaucha of Central Michigan, and they were both kind of wrestling. One flag is out. Miami had the ball carrier, and Jefferson, the quarterback, stopped well short, about 15 yards short of the line to gain. And the penalty is announced. Miami maybe gets a little bit of a break there. It's on Central Michigan. And so it's 15 yards from the end of the run. So the RedHawks dodge a bullet in what could have been an automatic 1st down, depending on which way that flag went. And the Chippewas will be backed up and forced to punt. And again, that penalty coming at the end of a drive that was already spoiled, maybe not as costly as some of the ones we've seen earlier on, but a Central Michigan team that struggled with discipline all year, and now will have to punt from their own 31-yard line. Chapo gets it away. Cade McDonald stepping up on it, receives it at the 29-yard line, working his way up the middle. McDonald now runs left. McDonald's got some blockers across the 40, and Cade McDonald finally rolled down at midfield around the 50-yard line. His knee went down at the 49, and McDonald returns that for about 19 yards there. Explosivity for the all-MAC returner, Cade McDonald. And the RedHawks again set up shop with great field position, a yard short of midfield with 2:21 to go in the 3rd quarter, already up 3 scores at 26-7.
And Luke, I feel like we're just seeing this again and again, Miami dominating the field position game. It seems like Miami's offense has been starting around midfield or even in plus territory a few times, especially lately.
2 receivers right and 1 left for Brett Gabbert, still into the game at quarterback since returning in the 2nd half from injury. On 1st down, he hands it off. Mosey working left, has a hole, lays a stiff arm, breaks a tackle to the outside, and Mosey finally gang tackled down at the 43-yard line after a gain of 8 yards on 1st down.
And this is a drive where you would really love to be able to run the ball here if you're in Miami. Not only will you drain the clock, but if you're able to get even a field goal here, make it 29-7, that would really put this game out of reach for Central Michigan while draining the clock out.
Under 2 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. 2nd and 2 from the Chippewa 43 with Miami up 19 points. Gabbert steps up to the line and calls an audible. Back moves to his left. High snap handled. Handoff to Mosey. Up ahead. Mosey tackled from behind, but forward momentum gets him to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 3 on 2nd and 2 and a 1st down for the RedHawks to the Chippewa 40-yard line. Should be noted for the RedHawks, we've mentioned how this run game keeps improving after somewhat of a dreadful start to the year. The numbers back it up. This week, the first time all season that Miami is averaging over 100 yards on the ground for the year. RedHawks have 111 of them in total on the ground today in terms of net, and 111 of them coming from Keon Mosey for the RedHawks. The rest kind of balancing out. 9 positive, 9 negative yards from other ball carriers. Handoff left again goes to Mosey. Breaks the initial tackle. Mosey into the 2nd level to the 34, fighting to the 33, and he's finally stood up at the 33-yard line of Central Michigan. After the whistles had already blown, a Chippewa bashed the ball out of Mosey's hand and had some words for him. Spann made the tackle to safety, who tied for the team lead with 12 stops last week. But a gain of 7, and Keon Mosey just cannot be stopped right now.
I mean, we've seen quite a few runs like that today, Luke, where he's just pushing the pile, just pushing. And I feel like this is the situation where if you're Mosey or the offensive line, you just live for just pushing and pushing Central Michigan and just ending this game, just crushing their spirit.
Final snap of the third quarter. On 2nd and 3, it's a handoff up the middle to Mosey. Runs into the line right at the first down marker. Fights for an extra yard. Check it rather Downing on the carry for the RedHawks. He gets 4. He'll move the chains for a first down for Miami, and that will take us to the end of the third quarter. Well, that went about as well as it could have for Miami after going into half with the lead. The RedHawks blank Central Michigan, get Brett Gabbert and Reggie Virgil back integrated into the offense and out of the medical tent. And Miami has opened up this lead as we go to the fourth from Yager Stadium. It is RedHawks 26 and Chippewas 7 from Oxford. We'll step aside and be back. You're listening to Miami Football on RedHawk Radio. Fourth quarter here from Yager Stadium. It's all RedHawks right now. Miami 26, Central Michigan 7. Brian Miller alongside Luke West Poley with you. Brett Gabbert missed all of that second quarter, most of the first half, I should say, out with a non-throwing shoulder injury. He returned back in full form as Miami has aired out this lead 26-7, thanks in large part to 123 yards on the ground from Keon Mosey. As we get going with the RedHawks up 3 scores, 1st and 10, Miami from the Chippewa 29, flipping ends of the field. Miami takes it right to left. Gabbert play fakes and off his back foot will just fling it out of bounds and throw it away incomplete. It actually falls next to the pylon in the left corner of the end zone. First time we've really seen Gabbert go to the air on this drive. It's been a healthy dose of Keon Mosey with one late carry in that third quarter from Dylan Downing. And the play fake that time did not fool the Central Michigan defense. 2nd and 10 coming up for Miami from the Chippewa 29.
I was a little surprised there. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that could have been a grounding there.
So the flag comes out. It's intentional grounding on Brett Gabbert. And we have really seen that kind of exact type of play unfold for intentional grounding a number of times this season. So that's a loss of down for Miami. It was a late flag. Officials discussed. And that's going to back Miami up 7 yards to the 36-yard line, 2nd and 17 from there.
Yeah, I was a little surprised they went for the deep shot there. They've had so much success running the ball. I feel like in this situation, you could really just drain the clock in the game, but we'll see what they do here on 2nd and 17.
2 receivers right and 1 left for Gabbard. Keon Mosey in the backfield with him to Gabbard's right out of the shotgun. Gabbard claps his hands, gets the snap at the belt, handoff to Mosey up the middle, runs into the middle of his line. Both teams pushing, but Mosey's mostly stopped up at the 34-yard line. 2-yard rush for Mosey, was honored here on Senior Day, and some late extracurriculars, and the crowd didn't like it. That's starting to become a theme of this game. We have seen all sorts of stuff after the whistle. It's really mostly been on the Central Michigan side with some of the frustration, and they've already been flagged for it a couple times. 3rd down and 15 now coming up for Miami.
Yeah, I think if you're Chuck Martin and the coaching staff here, the number one thing you can't do is engage in that type of stuff, especially in this type of situation where you're at the edge of field goal range.
Empty set from the 34 on 3rd and 15. Now Davis motions from the slot to the back. Gabbard still looking to throw. He gives it to Davis down low, getting out of bounds, crunched down at the 26-yard line. Gain of 8 on 3rd and 15, and that will set up a pretty manageable field goal. Kickoff team sprinted out, and then Chuck Martin said, hey, wait. And now they'll come out. It's 4th and 7. You figured that Miami was going to run the field goal team out there, but now the RedHawks will go. And Dom Jobin, what a game. He's hit a career-long 51-yard field goal already, and this will be his 5th try of the game. This will come from 44 yards out, now kicking into a headwind towards the closed end of the stadium from right to left. Snap will come just inside the left hash from Powell. Hold is down from Bevelheimer. Kick has the leg from Jobin, and it is good. 5 for 5 day for Dom Jobin. Unreal. He has topped probably his best performance of the year against UMass, where he hit the 2 clutch field goals. Miami, in all likelihood, will not need a clutch one down the stretch, but he's hit from a career long, and he's hit for a career most as well. 5 for 5 for Dom Jobin on the game, and with 13:25 to go in the 4th quarter, our score from Yager Stadium is Miami 29 and Central Michigan 7.
Yeah, I don't really know what more you can add, Luke. I mean, just a dominant performance from Dom Jobin. I mean, it's just great to see. I mean, we know how much Chuck Martin values special teams, and to have it on display here is just tremendous. We have to, like, come up with a nickname for Jobin or something. I mean, we got to come up with something if he keeps this up.
It was Golden Graham Nicholson last year, dubbed from former Miami student editor Jack Schmelzinger. But, yeah, we might be on our way to figuring something out for Dom Jobin. Certainly with the way he's performed, especially here in conference play. Really impressive stuff from, again, a guy who was brought in to punt for Miami. His freshman year, he was the punter for the RedHawks. Back 2 years ago, Jobin was the punter for the RedHawks and was named to the All-MAC team. And then last year, got hurt, missed the whole season. And normally when you have an all-conference guy that gets hurt for the year and he's coming back for the following season, following the season-ending injury, you'd think you'd have the starting job won. Problem is,
you would think
Miami's backup, Alec Bevelheimer, was phenomenal last year. He was named to the Ray Guy watch list this year, and you're not going to sit a guy like that. And so that meant there was no room for Jobin. And let's face it, in 2024, what does that mean for a lot of guys in Dom Jobin's position? You probably transfer.
Most people would.
Yeah, Jobin did not. He was a punter and kicker, as most guys are in high school. They usually do both and then specialize once you get to college. So the skill set was at least in part there. You know, don't want to say he relearned. He already knew how to kick, but kind of got that back into his arsenal during the offseason, and now has been Miami's starting place kicker this year, and he is well on his way to a potential All-MAC performance as well. Dom Jobin has been excellent kicking the football this year. 13:25 to go in this 4th quarter. RedHawks by 22, and Miami is now awfully close to really just getting deja vu for a 3rd straight week, as this is looking very similar for Miami to the Eastern Michigan game 2 weeks ago and the Ohio game last week, where the RedHawks kind of work their way through the early part of the game with a narrow lead and then make a couple adjustments to really put the hammer down late, as Miami's now up 3 scores with 13 and a half to go in this one, hoping to get back to 500 overall and improve to 3-1 in the Mid-American Conference. Kellen McLaughlin is on for the kickoff. And McLaughlin kicks it away, now into a headwind, an end-over-end kick that will fall at the 11-yard line. Returned from there by Lukes to the outside. Lukes gets across the 25, still going, working through the pile out near the 30-yard line. And that is where they'll mark him. A return of 19 yards for Marion Lukes, who's an all-MAC returner in his own right on the kickoff unit for Central Michigan, and they'll be set up once again with good field position here from the 30-yard line. But a tough climb ahead in this fourth quarter for a Chippewa offense that showed signs of promise and then ultimately stalled thanks to some untimely penalties on the last drive.
Yeah, much better return for Central Michigan there. I mean, we've seen a few times where they've been put inside the own 20 off of the kickoff return, either due to penalty or poor return.
Play action on first down for Jefferson. Plenty of time. Looking deep down the field. Has a man. It is broken up.
What a play.
Rayon Strader recovers from out of nowhere. Solomon Davis had 2 steps on Miami's former freshman All-American Rayon Strader, and he closed that gap on the end of that and got his arm in the way to knock that ball down. And Strader might be the nation's leader in passes defended when it's all said and done here this week. He's got a couple now in the game. Again, came in just 1 shy of the national lead with 8 for the year, and what a job to break up the deep ball.
Yeah, that was another great play from Strader there. Both times Central Michigan has tried to throw it deep, he's broken it up.
Throw over the middle again, targeting Strader, and that time just not really close.
He could have gotten a pick there.
Yeah, Strader had an interception last week, had maybe a chance to break on that ball. It's again that same play that Central Michigan has run time and time again. On the game now, Jefferson is 4 for 10 through the air, but pretty much all 4 of those completions have come on the quick hitter up the seam. They tried it that time, and a few times that Central Michigan has run it, it just hasn't been there, and it wasn't on that latest play. 3rd down and 10 for the Chippewas. 13:08 to go, fourth quarter, and they're down 22 points from their own half of the field at the 30-yard line. Ball on the right hash. Jefferson in the gun, takes the snap, looking left, pocket collapsing. He escapes to the far side, directing traffic downfield. He'll loft it short of the target, incomplete. RedHawks had great downfield coverage. Chris Parker was the intended target, but he was surrounded by 3 RedHawks. That throw was well short, but even if it got to him, there was a very low percentage chance that a catch would be made, and Central Michigan will bring the punt unit on.
Yeah, it looked like Jefferson and Parker weren't quite on the same page there. Jefferson was starting to approach the line of scrimmage as if he was going to run, and Parker started to ease up a little bit and started to block. But then when Jefferson eased up, tried to make a pass to Parker, Parker was not ready for it.
Chapeau with a sky kick. Cade McDonald running forward. It hits outside the 30 and bounces straight sideways, just inside the 30-yard line, out of bounds. Central Michigan keeps it away from Miami's dangerous returner following Cade McDonald's last return that brought Miami some good field position. This time the RedHawks will be marked at, looks like the 30-yard line to get started, 1st and 10 on the next drive. We've reached a timeout on the field. We'll take a break from Yager Stadium with 12:53 to go. In this fourth quarter, it's Miami 29, Central Michigan 7, with the RedHawks set to get the offense back on the field when we come back. You're listening to Miami Football on Red Hawk Radio. With 12:53 to go, fourth quarter from Yager Stadium, it's Miami 29 and Central Michigan 7, and the RedHawk offense is back on the field. And we suspected we might see a quarterback change, and we have for Miami, with Brett Gabbert going out with injury in that first half. He returned for the second half, but now Miami leading by 22. They've put Henry Hessen back into the game, likely just to rest Gabbert and get him ready for next week, already banged up. Handoff on first down, up the middle. Kevin Davis working down the right side, plants his foot in the ground, and finally swung down at the 38-yard line of Miami after an 8-yard pickup on first down. Kevin Davis has been a little less involved for this Miami offense after last year. He served a lot of time in the slot role despite being a running back. This year, the RedHawks have kind of phased that out of their playbook as they've gotten in to MAC play, and that has then resulted in Davis seeing less touches. But here late, especially with the amount of wear and tear on Keon Mosey, we might just see a lot of new faces in for the RedHawks as they bleed the time down.
You would think so. We definitely saw Kevin Davis a lot this season in the pass catching back role as well. My mind goes to that UMass game, that last drive of regulation.
Handoff to Davis again, and he finds a hole. Davis accelerating into the secondary, makes a man miss with the hop step down the sideline inside the 10, and he's dragged down at the 4-yard line.
Wow. What a run from Davis there. Just splitting the gap, just running past defenders. It looked like no Chippewa was ready for his speed there. And yet another explosive run for this RedHawk offense.
All the way down to the 2-yard line. It's a gain of 60 for Kevin Davis. The second 60-plus yard run by a Miami back today. And the clock moves under 12 minutes to play in this one. Miami already up 29-7, and they are down to the 2-yard line of Central Michigan, first and goal. Hessen directing traffic. Davis still the single back out of the shotgun, only one man wide, and Davis gets the handoff, churning his legs, finds the hole down the left side of the line. Touchdown, Miami. Kevin Davis doing it himself on this drive. A 60-yard run sets up the 2-yard punch in, and Miami delivers a knockout punch with 11:19 to go in the fourth quarter. It's 35-7 RedHawks with the PAT coming up.
Man, Luke, he earned that. He earned that touchdown. What a drive from the running back, Kevin Davis. I mentioned earlier we've mostly seen him in the pass-catching back role, but able to show off the legs here. What a drive for him.
Dom Jobin is on for the PAT for Miami. And he drives it through. 11:19 to go. And probably objective A for the RedHawks on that drive was run some time off the clock. That objective not completed, but that's okay. Big play and a touchdown for the RedHawks as they go 3 plays, 70 yards in a minute and 28 seconds. And with 11:19 to go, the touchdown has Miami in front 36-7. As now the RedHawks, who already put some of the backups in, can truly ride this one to the sunset. And now move within 2 wins of bowl eligibility for their 3rd win in a row in MAC play.
And it really just keeps them in the MAC race as well. I mean, there's just so many one-loss teams in conference play right now with Western Michigan up top. It looks like they're going to stay undefeated. They're beating up on Kent State. But I mean, you just got to focus on what you're doing right now. If you're Miami, you're going to play a lot of these teams that you're around in conference play. If they keep doing what they're doing, they have a good path to get back to Detroit.
So, yeah, as you mentioned it, let's take a look a little bit at the teams that Miami might be competing with down the stretch. The RedHawks have 4 games left to play. Chuck Martin, meanwhile, is furious with the officiating crew. I'm not sure what that's about, but looking at the teams that the RedHawks will be competing with in the Mid-American Conference race, Ohio, who's a 1-loss team, but Miami owns the tiebreaker with after their dominant win against the Bobcats last Saturday, won today. So they handed Buffalo their 2nd loss, so now Miami moves a game clear of the Bulls. Again, Ohio 3-1 in the MAC, but Miami with the tiebreak over the Bobcats head-to-head. Western Michigan is having no problem dealing with Kent State right now. The Golden Flashes are 0-7 and 0-3 in the MAC, which includes a loss to FCS St. Francis. They are not really a contender this year, but credit to Western Michigan taking care of business at home. They're up 37-0, about to kick a PAT to make it 38 with still 4 minutes left in the first half. Toledo, who Miami lost to, suffered a loss at the hands of Buffalo. That was a bit of a shocking defeat. The Bulls have handed out 2 of those this year, also taking down Northern Illinois after their big win against Notre Dame. Toledo today in action at home in the Battle of I-75, probably the MAC's biggest in-conference rivalry against Bowling Green. And so far, the Falcons leading it 21-10. That's a team to look out for in Bowling Green. If they can hold on to that one, they'll be 3-1 in the MAC, and Miami will be competing with them as well. Harold Fannin is probably the best tight end in the nation.
Stud.
Miami,
Absolute stud.
yeah, we'll see them on Black Friday, a noon kick from Doynell Perry Stadium between the RedHawks and the Falcons, and what is shaping up to be a potential game to determine who goes to Detroit. Looking at the other one-loss team in the MAC, it's Eastern Michigan, who's actually trailing right now to 1-6 Akron, 18-0, but still early in the first half. So if you're Miami, again, you control your own destiny, headed to Detroit. We'll talk about that a little more as Kellen McLaughlin boots away the kickoff. And backing up, Lukes will receive it inside his own 5-yard line. Lukes running right, shimmies away from a tackle, now spinning across the 20. He is wrapped up at the 22-yard line after a solid return. And so with 11-12 to go in the fourth quarter, the Central Michigan offense will come back out onto the field, trailing at 36-7 with 11-12 to go. But Bryan, with the exception of Western Michigan and Toledo, if you're Miami, you look at the one-loss teams in the MAC, you either already hold the tiebreak or will have a chance to play later in the year the teams are going to be competing with, and that's great news for the RedHawks. Right now, 3 receivers to the left and 1 right, and Jefferson just lofts one over the middle, catch made, but the receiver on the play got hit hard. That was Jesse Pruitt that had the catch. First catch in a couple of weeks after he was targeted, but didn't bring one in last week. That's a gain of 4. But for Miami, again, we talked about it on the broadcast last week. You looked at the schedule for the RedHawks, and you were thinking, man, this is brutal by the schedule makers. Miami had to play probably every good team in the MAC this year, with the exception now we see of Western Michigan. And what's going on here? Looks like Central Michigan subbed late, and Miami was then responding. And as the Chippewas tried to snap the ball, the official came in and got in the way, and the snap, it looked like, actually hit the referee, and they've just announced no play. So they'll set up again for 2nd and 6. But after dropping your MAC opener, it turns out to kind of be a good thing for Miami that the schedule's this tough. Jefferson takes the snap, slings near side, caught by McIntosh near the line to gain, but he is brought down immediately after the catch by the RedHawks' William Hardrick. And he's a yard short. It's 3rd down and 1 as we move towards 10 minutes to go in the game. RedHawks still holding on to a comfortable lead, because it really allows, Bryan, the RedHawks, with that tough schedule, to just focus on yourself. You don't really need any out-of-town help now the rest of this year. If you can continue to play this well and continue to rack up wins, you will be in Detroit playing for a MAC championship. Chuck Martin calls timeout.
He's not happy.
He is really, really angry on the Miami sideline.
Well, you definitely like to see the fire coming out of Chuck Martin, up 36-7. Definitely not taking it easy these last 10 minutes. But yeah, as you mentioned, Luke, I think the way that Miami's playing right now, they're really setting themselves up well. I know a lot of fans were looking forward, and they had goals of really making this another special season, another double-digit season, beating UC, beating Northwestern, potentially keeping it close with Notre Dame. And I mean, it is, obviously, it sucks a little bit that those goals didn't happen. But I think #1 goal every year should be to win the MAC championship. And the way they've been playing since that loss to Toledo has really helped them out there. I think they're in really good shape right now. And especially with the next couple games against some of the lesser teams in the conference, you don't want to give away wins or just count them automatically, especially in this conference. But I think the future few weeks definitely shape up well for the RedHawks.
Miami will have their mini-bye coming up next week. 3rd down and 1 for the Chippewas. Handoff down the right side of the line, and Harris dives forward, rather Bailey, and he's got 2 yards for the first down on 3rd and 1. So that'll move the chains for Central Michigan up to the 33-yard line. But Miami had their bye in week 2 of the season, but because of how midweek MACtion sets up, the RedHawks will be off next Saturday and will be next in action on election night. That's November 5th, Tuesday. for midweek action. On first down, Jefferson facing trouble, and he is sacked. Down he goes for a loss of a yard. Roosevelt Andrews, the backup defensive lineman, brings the quarterback down. Second down and 11 coming up for the Chippewas with under 9 minutes to play. It's Miami 36 and Central Michigan 7. RedHawks will next be at home on November 13th for a Wednesday night matchup with Kent State. And on second and 11, throw to the near side, hits the receiver in the hands. Incomplete. Another quick crossing route that developed. Davis was wide open. It was a good throw and a good job to get into space by Davis, but it bounced off him and falls incomplete. And it's third down and 11 now for the Chippewas.
Yeah, it just seems like nothing could go right for the Central Michigan passing attack.
Third down and 11, 8:48 to go, fourth quarter. Jefferson pointing left and right, getting his guys set up, 2 receivers each side. Pruitt now motioning from right to left. 3 on that side of the field now. As Jefferson gets the snap, pressure up the middle, flag comes in. Jefferson rolling near side, airs it near side of the field. Wide open man, but he overshot him. Incomplete. Oh, it was Pruitt that ran all the way across the field. No one was within 20 yards of him. But on the run, Jefferson couldn't connect with him. It falls incomplete. We'll check on the flag, but indication is it's on Central Michigan. It is holding on the right tackle, Braden Swartout. Miami will decline the penalty, and it'll be fourth down for Central Michigan. They will punt with 8:40 to go, down 29 points.
Yeah, Miami D-lines did a great job there getting pressure on Jefferson and forced that errant throw. I mean, he was wide open. That would have been a walk-in touchdown.
Snap and the kick is away for Chapeau. And it'll land at the 27-yard line and roll in. Kevin Davis is actually back there for Miami to return. So truly all the second stringers in for the RedHawks as it's down at the 21-yard line. It is a little interesting, though, to see Davis, who's Miami's normal kick returner, in on the punt unit and getting as many carries as he is. As seemingly Chuck Martin doesn't really consider him a true backup, but he is on with a lot of the second teamers right now. 8.5 minutes to play, and Miami will take over first and 10 from the 21-yard line on their own half of the field, up 36-7. They're showing on the video board Javon Tracy, Reggie Virgil are dancing on the sideline, and it's been that type of day for Miami. Everything has gone right for the Hawks en route to what will be their third straight win. Henry Hessen into the game at quarterback. The back is Jordan Brunson for the RedHawks, and he gets the carry on first down. Brunson wrapped around the waist immediately, but shuffles forward for a couple of yards. Brunson did not play last week. The former Virginia Tech Hokie gets 1 yard on first down, but good to see Miami's back to pretty much their full complement of running backs. Not their full complement is Kenny Tracy, out for the year with a preseason injury and has not appeared for the RedHawks this year. But among that group that has shared the carries this season, Miami looks to be fully healthy in the backfield.
Yeah, we haven't seen that for a while, so it's definitely good to see that. Hopefully Brunson gets another drive that Kevin Davis had last time. I think that would be a tremendous film watching session in the running back room if that were the case.
Brunson again gets the handoff, and again he breaks away. Bryan spoke it into existence. There goes Brunson inside the 30, catches a block, cutting to the middle of the field, and brought down at the 4-yard line of Central Michigan. Unreal. It happened again.
That is unbelievable, man. Right after, I mean, time and time again, we've seen an explosive run play from Miami. It happens yet again. Wow.
75-yard run from Jordan Brunson. Now the third RedHawk in this game with a run of 60 yards or more. And the RedHawks have it first and goal, marked at the 3-yard line of Central Michigan as the clock approaches 7 minutes to play.
You got to give it to him again here. You got to.
He is the back in the shotgun formation. Hessen desperately trying to motion him from his right to his left. He does so. Handoff, Brunson, muscling, touchdown, Miami. 2 near identical drives. First it was Kevin Davis who cracked off the long run to get inside the 5 and then punched it in. Jordan Brunson says, I'll do that too. 75-yard carry by Brunson to set Miami up first and goal. And from 3 yards out, he punches it in for 6. And with 6:49 to go in this game, it is Miami 42 and Central Michigan 7. And man, Chuck Martin.
I think there's a flag.
There's a flag on the field, and Chuck Martin was being held back, it looked like, by James Patton, the offensive line coach for Miami. Yeah, the flag's kind of hidden by the red stripe on the 20-yard line. But Martin might be getting flagged here. He has been all over the officials, and yeah, so it's an unsportsmanlike penalty on Chuck Martin, and it'll be a 15-yard penalty that was announced over the PA, would be assessed on the PAT, but rather it's going to look like be on the kickoff, as Jobin will still try this from the usual spot. 6:49 remaining.
I think that's McLaughlin.
It is McLaughlin out there. A little bit of a shaky hold, but he knocks it through, and McLaughlin adds on points, and man, Dave Meyer, Miami SID, is going to have a lot of work coming up this year updating statistics. RedHawks are getting everybody involved. The redshirt freshman, Kellen McLaughlin, Miami's kickoff specialist, gets a pat on the back from Dom Jobin, who's got a big smile on his face with his helmet off on the sideline. Even in the kicking unit, Miami's getting the second-teamers in to get involved. First career points for Kellen McLaughlin, and with 6:49 to go after another explosive run, fuels a touchdown drive. It's Miami 43 and Central Michigan 7. 507 total yards now on the game for Miami compared to just 149 for Central Michigan. We were talking last week, Bryan, Addison, Lenhart, and I, who were on the call of the Ohio game, that was the most dominant game we'd seen Miami put together in multiple years, even considering how good the team was last season. This has topped that and then some.
And Luke, I think you could say that Miami's had the most dominant performance of the season the past 3 weeks. And I think that's a great sign for Miami and where they're at right now. I mean, I think that last drive is just so great for them. Everyone's on the sideline so happy. Big drive for people that love points. Just excellent for Miami.
So Kellen McLaughlin will have a little bit of a tall task in front of him now following the penalty on his head coach. He's going to have to kick this off from his own 20-yard line after the 15-yard penalty. 6:49 remains in the game. Miami's going to cruise to a third straight win. It's RedHawks 43 and Chippewas 7. McLaughlin will kick this into the headwind as far as he can. It will land in the hands of Lukes at his own 18-yard line. Luke's running left, cutting it to the outside, inside the 25, now trying to work back to the middle of the field, and Luke's goes down at the 20.
Wow.
That's worse than a touchback, and talk about themes on one side for Miami with everything going right. That's about the way the day has gone for Central Michigan here on the road. Miami kicking from their own 20-yard line, and Central Michigan unable to get to touchback territory. They'll start this drive from the 21.
And I know Chuck Martin, in his presser a couple weeks ago, mentioned that most of the people on the kickoff unit were freshmen, either 8 or 9 guys. So I'm sure he's just absolutely ecstatic about it. That's got to be a great feeling for those guys.
So 6:40 remains here in the game. Miami leads at 43-7, and the Central Michigan offense is back on the field. And still in the game, Jefferson throws it over the middle. Pass is caught by Chris Parker. Both RedHawks in coverage. Luke Evans was the DB, and Silas Walters providing safety help, signaling to the far side official they thought it was incomplete. It was a low throw, but brought in by Parker for a gain of 11. That'll move the chains for a first down. Jefferson faking the handoff, throwing near side. It's picked off. Heading down the field, wrapped up around the 30-yard line. It is Jackson Pons for the RedHawks with the interception and a cherry on top for the Miami defense. They'll take over in Central Michigan territory with 6:05 remaining to the Chippewa 29-yard line. Miami forces the first turnover of the game with 6:05 to go, and the RedHawks already up 36 points. See the interception give them great field position here. Jackson Pons, the freshman from North Huntington, Pennsylvania, did not play last week. Back into the lineup and a pick for the true freshman on Miami's defense. What a way to likely put a bow on this one for the RedHawks.
Oh, there's a lot of bows being put on this game. A lot of cherries on top, a lot of whipped cream, sprinkles, everything going right for Miami.
Now there are just all sorts of backups, and Hessen's going to hand it off on first down, and the run left for Miami goes to Josh Ringer, who is 5 men deep on the depth chart now as the running back, and it's a gain of 2 up to the 27-yard line of Central Michigan. Second and 8 coming up.
Second carry of the year for Ringer there. Got one against Central Michigan as well, so back in. Or Eastern Michigan, sorry. Getting my Michigans mixed up.
That was also a game of firsts for Miami. And a couple guys who got their first career catch in that game in the receiving corps as well. Nate Milanowski now in at the running back position. He gets the carry, heading right on second down. He'll be stacked up after a short gain. Give him a yard. Josh Ringer now trotting back onto the field. It's 3rd down and 8 for Miami. Clock moving, 5:08 to go, 4th quarter. And Miami steamrolling Central Michigan. 43-7 is the score. And if this drive stalls, Miami might be putting even more points on the board with a potential field goal try coming up.
I'd love to see Jobin go back out there, try to go 6 for 6.
He's already made 5 field goals, including a career-long 51 today. Miami then pulled him out after he was perfect on PATs after their last touchdown to let Kellen McLaughlin score his first collegiate point, Miami's kickoff specialist. Handoff down the left side, and Ringer is dropped right at the line of scrimmage. And Miami will have to kick this, it looks like. Nope, the RedHawks are going to go for it. So Chuck Martin's not going to run the score up here. Kind of weird to say that going for it on 4th down this late is not running the score up. But Miami's going to bring in Nate Milanowski, and almost assuredly this is going to be a dive up the middle to Milanowski on 4th down and 8, which is essentially the most sportsmanship-like thing you can do here.
You would think so, but Central Michigan the past couple of drives have not been good at defending that, so we'll see what happens.
Handoff, Milanowski breaks free and gets down to the 19-yard line. That's a gain of 8 and a first down. Wow, Nate Milanowski moves the chains for Miami on 4th and 8. RedHawks have had their first 2 4th down conversions of the year now in this game. 1st and 10 Miami from the 19-yard line.
I think that's a play that encapsulates how the 4th quarter has gone for both teams. Wow. I love seeing how fired up Martin is on the sidelines too. I mean, obviously we haven't talked about it yet, but this is not just any other win for Chuck Martin. It looks like he's going to be the all-time wins leader in Miami football history with this win.
A little bit of trouble handing that off to Milanowski, and he'll go backwards for a yard before he gets bottled up. 2:53 and counting to go in this 4th quarter. This is the most points Miami has scored against an FBS team here today since all the way back in 2021, 3 seasons ago, in the 48-47 shootout loss in the regular season finale against Kent State. If you remember that game, actually, Miami had a chance to go for 2 at the end of that game to try and win it on the road against Kent. That would have put the RedHawks in the MAC championship that year. They failed to try, but that was the last time Miami put up more than 43 points against an FBS opponent. They did it twice that year. Handoff left. This time it's Ringer that gets spun down at the 20-yard line. And that will bring us to the 2-minute timeout. We'll stay here for it. Earlier that year, Miami beat Buffalo in a midweek game 45-18 here at Yager Stadium. A couple of times Miami's put up 40-plus points against an FBS opponent. You would have loved to see the RedHawks maybe get in the end zone here, as if they could score, that would eclipse both of those totals, and you'd have to look back even further into the history books to find the last time that Miami hung 50 on an FBS team. But for now, the RedHawks will huddle up here at the 2-minute timeout, and you alluded to it a little bit. Last week was a big win for Chuck Martin, Bryan, tying RedHawk legend Randy Walker as the all-time wins leader in this historic program's history, the third winningest program in the group of 5, these Miami RedHawks, and the winningest program all-time in the Mid-American Conference. Chuck Martin, and probably just about 5 to 10 minutes time, will now move into sole possession as the all-time wins leader. Had the chance to address it a little bit midweek. Talked to the late Randy Walker's widow over text last week after the win. Said that, of course, he would have loved that you tied the record, would have loved even more that you did it against the Ohio Bobcats, Miami's big in-conference rival. And now Chuck Martin will likely cement himself as the leader in Miami history, and not only as the leader in wins of a historic football program, but a place that has a pedigree as one of the best college football programs in the country in terms of putting out head coaches, the cradle of coaches, of course, here in Oxford.
Absolutely.
That include some great football minds all time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it over here. I mean, some of the greatest coaches, some of the greatest coaches to ever coach the sport of football, let alone college football. I mean, and to be the all-time wins leader of that program, that's really remarkable. And I think the biggest thing for me, Luke, you mentioned the stats of how many wins Miami has, just like over their history. Obviously, third group of 5, most in the MAC. But when he was taking over the program, it was in pretty bad shape. I mean, they went winless the year before he got here. And I mean, it's just really spectacular, the turnaround that Martin has had. I mean, it's just been remarkable to see, and now it's really paying off in this game today.
RedHawks are faced with 3rd and 11. Should they punch this in the end zone, thanks to Sean Wiesemann for some quick research, it would be the most points in the Chuck Martin era against an FBS team if they were to score on this drive. And it would be the most since 2012 for Miami, when they put up 55 points on Akron in a conference game. Well, this has just been a dream day for the RedHawks. Looked like disaster might have struck. It was a close game early, and then Brett Gabbert went down and kind of embodied what would go on the rest of the day with a 70-yard run put together by Keon Mosey. The play after Gabbert went out with injury, Gabbert would later return, and Miami would have no issues. Handoff now on 3rd and 11 goes to a new back. That is Deshaunte Jones, who shimmies across the 20-yard line to the 18. And it is 4th down for Miami. 4th and 9 down to the 18-yard line, as the clock will get down to about 1 minute and 10 seconds by the time Miami snaps it.
See if they're able to do it again. Oh, it looks like they're going to kick the field goal instead.
They are going to bring the field goal team out, and they're going to let McLaughlin try another one. So again, the last time Miami put up this many points against an FBS opponent was 2021 in the loss against Kent State. Last time they did it in a win was against Buffalo. Play clock winding down and actually expiring. And so Miami will take the delay of game call.
Gonna make it a little harder.
Yeah, why not? Chuck Martin gonna test his redshirt freshman kicker a little more. Kellen McLaughlin will now try this from 41 yards away as opposed to 36.
Does that count as icing your own kicker? Or does it have to be a timeout?
It could be. And the clock will be set down to 57 seconds. There's a runoff, apparently, that works out with that play. Low hold, kick is up from McLaughlin. Guess what? It's good. Kellen McLaughlin, the redshirt freshman from Louisville, Kentucky, puts it through for Miami with 51 seconds remaining. From 41 yards away, Miami's kickoff specialist got a PAT try earlier and made another kick for Miami kicking today. They are now 6 for 6 on field goals. Dom Jobin will almost assuredly win MAC Special Teams Player of the Week this week for his 5 for 5 performance, including a career-long 51. Redhawks could have continued to pad the stats, but instead they throw a bone to their kickoff specialist to score some points, and 4 of them scored today by Kellen McLaughlin between the PAT and the field goal. With 51 seconds remaining in the game, it's Miami 46 and Central Michigan 7. And McLaughlin will put the ball on the tee and boot this one away following his field goal. Miami's going to end the day with 518 total yards on offense, 277 through the air, and guess what? 241 on the ground, and nearly 200 of those yards coming across just 3 plays. End over end kick will fly into the end zone for Kellen McLaughlin, and Central Michigan will start from the 25. Some physicality as the Miami sideline is fired up with, I'm sure, some now reserve special teams guys getting after it for the RedHawks in what was a very physical kick coverage unit, considering it was just a touchback.
I think that was number 8, Tyler Dickos.
Yep. But right now, Chuck Martin's got the headset off, and he hugs his son Max on the sideline. A handshake to his equipment guy, Daryl Halberg, and now he's just going up and down and getting the congratulations from everybody on this Miami staff, and well-deserved for Chuck Martin on first down for Central Michigan. Handoff left for Harris, working towards the inside across the 30 to the 32. Harris is brought down after a gain of 7 yards with 38 seconds remaining, but Central Michigan will keep this on the ground, and that will be it.
I think it's only fitting that Chuck Martin's record-breaking win comes in this fashion. Just running the ball so well, even when they haven't been able to do it early on in the season, having that turnaround and just absolutely exploding in the rushing game today. I feel like it's only fitting that that's the way his record-breaking win comes.
Another handoff left, goes for a couple yards, but that's going to be it. A big hug from David Saylor, Miami Athletic Director, to Chuck Martin. He heads out to midfield, and time will expire here from Oxford. History today at Yager Stadium. Chuck Martin, the all-time winningest coach in Miami football history. A dominant victory over Central Michigan this afternoon. Miami takes down the Chippewas 46-7 from Yager in a start-to-finish complete effort from this team. The RedHawks will win their 3rd game in a row and improve to 4-4 on the year. Miami now 3-1 in the conference, and the RedHawks are rolling now as we make our way to the stretch of the season. Bye week coming up for Miami. They'll next be in action on election night, November 5th. That's a Tuesday matchup on the road with the Ball State Cardinals. And we'll next have Miami football coverage for you when they return home November 13th for a Wednesday night action game against the Golden Flashes of Kent State. Bryan, this game started off, as you called it, very typical for Miami. There was kind of a feeling out stage, and when the RedHawks figured out what they had to do, they made a couple of adjustments, and they really put their foot down in this one. Didn't know if it was going to be this dominant when it was a game that Miami trailed 7-3 early on. Brett Gabbert exits the game with injury, but you get the big run, you end up scoring, you go into half with a lead, Gabbert returns, and all is good here for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it was like almost silent here when Gabbert went down. I mean, Miami's down 7-3, your quarterback's out, you're thinking like worst case scenario. And then Keon Mosey pops a huge run, Miami's able to score, and it was just all RedHawks after that. I have to give credit to the defense, man. I don't think they could have played any better after that opening drive. I mean, that was just another remarkable performance. And then, I mean, we keep mentioning the rushing attack, but it's just a night and day difference from how they've looked the first few games of the season to how they look now. I mean, they just got to keep it up. RedHawks look really good right now.
Really too many individual performances to highlight in this one, but Brett Gabbert, Keon Mosey, Dom Jobin, Kellen McLaughlin, guys on the defensive end, everything. It was a full team effort, even down the depth chart today. Sean Wiesemann will do his best, I'm sure, to wrap that up on the postgame show, but Miami dominates Central Michigan. Chuck Martin getting his salutation over the PA, and the team surrounds him after his 60th win. Miami wins it 46-7 here from Yager Stadium. That'll wrap things up for Bryan Miller. I'm Luke West Poley saying so long. Again, we are next with you for football on November 13th. Wednesday night action, 7 o'clock start, 6 o'clock kickoff show to get you started against the Golden Flashes of Kent State. RedHawks next in action on election night on the road in Muncie against the Ball State Cardinals. Stay tuned. Coming up later tonight, Bryan Miller will have your post-game show in just over, or a pre-game show rather, in just over an hour from Goggin Ice Center as Miami hockey gets set for Game 2 of their series against Lindenwood. And Jeff Middleton and I will have the call at 7:05. For now, we will send things to our post-game show after the break. Thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Miami football on Red Hawk Radio. Final score, Miami 46 and Central Michigan 7 on this beautiful fall Saturday afternoon from Oxford.
Wow, what a game, what a story for the RedHawks. It is Sean Wiesemann here with the post-game show. 46-7, the final victory over the Central Michigan Chippewas. I'm so happy you are listening to us here on Red Hawk Radio. Where can we even start? I'll start actually with Chuck Martin. This is his 60th career victory, which puts him number 1 all-time in Miami wins, passing Randy Walker, the former Northwestern head coach, who had the previous record at 59. Also, another thing to mention is Brett Gabbert was back for the second half, as you well know. He was 10 of 12 for 165 yards and a touchdown, with a really, really dominant performance on the ground being the key catalyst, though, for the RedHawks, as they averaged 7.1 yards a carry on 39 carries for a 277-yard rushing performance. Absolute domination on the ground. Keon Mosey pacing the RedHawks, 15 carries, 120 yards. That is his third game in as many games with 100 yards plus rushing, and fourth in his last 5 games. Additionally, Jordan Brunson with a 75-yard run gave him 3 carries for 79 yards, and Kevin Davis 4 carries for 70 yards, including a 60-yard run, made it so that this rushing performance was absolutely dominant. Additionally, Javon Tracy on the day, 5 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. Reggie Virgil, 4 catches, 50 yards and a touchdown. And Cade McDonald, 3 catches, 41 yards. All 3 of them, once again, proving that they are one of the best wide receiver trios in the entire Mid-American. And the defense was absolutely outstanding, as you could guess, by the big ol' 7 on the scoreboard next to Central Michigan, as Tyler Jefferson was pretty dreadful with a 7 for 17 performance for only 62 yards and an interception, and Bert Emanuel wasn't even able to play, which meant that they had to stick with him despite Emanuel arguably being the better quarterback for them. And the rushing game wasn't any better. As I mentioned in the pregame, they had their way with Eastern Michigan, able to rush for over 260 yards. But just today, the RedHawks really stepped up in their rushing defense, with Marion Lukes, 15 carries for 25 yards. And overall, as a team, they only had 34 carries for 98 yards. That'll be the story of the game right there, is the lack of offensive consistency for Central Michigan. And as a result, a 30-point second half is what ultimately did the Chippewas in. We really appreciate you listening to Red Hawk Radio. I am Sean Wiesemann, and once again, thank you so much. We will be back here in just a little bit with a hockey game against Lindenwood in a little bit over an hour. Thank you so much for listening to Red Hawk Radio.